One of my oldest scenarios is what if Goku escaped to Vampa after Namek, and given how old it is, it definitely could be tweaked. I did have one about Broly being in Vegeta's crew that is nearing its conclusion, and this one will be far different since it's based on an old one. Looking back, there were a lot of things that I could have done differently, not to mention new things I could add now, and more importantly, better editing and audio. Mainly that last part because my old recordings were way too awkward. There's definitely a pun somewhere with the word revamp in Vampa, but instead I'm going to go with a much simpler title. What if Goku found Broly early? Similar concept, different title, and pretty much a remake overall. So, let's begin this story. The story still begins normally. On Namek, Goku's able to grab a different spaceship instead of the Ginyu pod. He begins slamming out the controls out of desperation, not knowing how to control the ship or where it's going. But since it is a different ship, it's going to take him to a much different place, especially since he's messing with the controls. He's frantic right now, the planet's exploding, and he doesn't know how to control this thing, but he sees that apparently they're heading to a planet that is habitable, but it's small and it doesn't seem like there's anyone on there. That actually might be good. Goku doesn't even question it. He collapses from exhaustion as the ship launches from Namek, taking him to some unknown repugnant planet. Goku wakes up not too long after. He feels a lot of shaking, and he realizes that the ship has landed. And yeah, this planet is habitable, at least he could breathe the air here, but he doesn't see anything around. It seems completely desolate. It's some sort of deserted wasteland. There's some creatures here and there, and they don't really scare Goku except for the fact that some of them have needles on them. Something that he's terrified of, which makes him jerk awake. He jumps up into the sky, barely being able to fly above. He's still very tired out. Maybe there's something on the ship to help heal him. But before he heads back to the ship, he senses something far away. Two very small powers. They feel familiar. Not like he knows who they are, but they don't feel like malicious creatures or whatever. It's definitely some sort of intelligent life. And hopefully nothing too malicious. And they're heading his way. He doesn't even need to fly over. He descends back to the ground, tired out. And the powers are approaching rapidly. There's a shockwave as a man arrives nearby, with someone else holding onto his back, and Goku can immediately see. One of them has a tail, and the other one doesn't have a tail, but he looks kind of like a Saiyan. The one with the mustache looks at Goku with shock, realizing that he's probably a Saiyan too, and also seeing that space pod. They could definitely steal it, kill the Saiyan. But the man is curious. How did Goku get here, and why? There's definitely a reason. Goku then fades into unconsciousness once more. And as he wakes up, he's then tied up too. He doesn't even realize it at first, asking who those two are. The mustache man then asks. He wants to know who this person is first. Goku tells him who he is, why he's here, and how he got here. He then notices he's tied up and easily breaks free from it. But as he tries to stand up, he then feels like he's electrocuted. There's something around his neck too. He has that shock collar on. He looks at the man with the mustache, saying he doesn't want to do this. There's no reason to torture Goku or whatever. But the man says he's not trying to do that. He just wants to keep Goku under control. He can't trust Saiyans, and he wants to hear him out first. Goku explains more. So apparently this guy killed Frieza, and he's a Super Saiyan. How? Goku ends up hearing their story too, learning that Broly was sent here by King Vegeta. Wait, King Vegeta? Goku knows Vegeta, at least Prince Vegeta. And Paragus asks, what's up with him? Well, he did die in Namek but got brought back to life. And Goku has no idea of where he is now, but assumes he's still on Earth because that's probably where he was sent with that wish, doubting that he's found a way to leave yet. Paragus curses everything, so Vegeta still is out there. But that's actually good. That means he knows where Vegeta is, and he can head there to kill him. He needs to go to Earth and kill Vegeta as soon as possible. But he can't make a move against Goku, or he can't steal his spaceship. Goku might be too powerful. If he really is a Super Saiyan that defeated Frieza, well, they definitely stand no chance against him. And as Paragus is thinking this through, Goku grabs the collar on his neck, ripping it clean off. Paragus notices this when he hears the sound of it breaking. And Goku looks over, seeing that Broly's wearing the same thing too. But he can't take it off of Broly because Paragus is watching. Actually, he hasn't really spoken yet either. And he asks again, why was Broly sent here? Something seems strange. You know, him wearing the collar, them being here. There's a reason for it. There's a reason for everything together. Paragus reiterates, King Vegeta was just jealous of Broly's power. And it is uncontrollable, to be honest. So from what Goku can see, Paragus is clearly not a great guy. And he's controlling Broly. But maybe controlling him way far beyond where he's needed to be controlled. He can't be that powerful though, can he? Especially compared to his Super Saiyan. There's no way Broly's on that level of power. It's not like Goku can even fight now anyways because he's too tired out. But then he remembers, right before he lost consciousness, he was going to go back to the ship, seeing if he could find anything on there to heal himself. He was so set on escaping, and so tired out, that he didn't even think to look around the ship. And once he looks on there, he finds something amazing. There's a healing pod, just like one of the ones he used on Namek after the fight with the Ginyu Force. And Paragus asks, well, is he going to take them off this planet? And Goku has to come up with some sort of lie. He doesn't want to leave just yet. He needs to think through his options. So on the spot, he comes up with a lie, saying it might not be safe yet because there's probably some Frieza Force ships out there still, maybe with people way stronger than him, which actually is true. He doesn't know this for sure, and Paragus asks if he killed King Cold yet. King Cold? No, Goku doesn't even know who that is. And learning of King Cold just makes Goku's lie seem even more believable, because he didn't actually know King Cold is out there. And now knowing that, and not knowing King Cold's strength, well, maybe there's some truth to that. Goku says he needs to heal first, before they could even think about going out anywhere. He tries to show off Super Saiyan, but doesn't really have enough strength to do so. Although Paragus and Broly see it for a very brief moment, so Goku is telling the truth about everything. Well, then they should probably wait for him to heal. If what Goku's saying is true, they might need him on their side if they encounter King Cold or someone like that. So Goku steps into the healing pod, glad that his lie actually ended up working. And this healing will give him some time to think through everything. So what is he supposed to do about these two? Paragus isn't that great of a guy, and Broly's probably a loose cannon for all he knows. He needs to gauge Broly's power first. Not to mention, he can't really fully trust them yet. And now hearing about King Cold, that lie of his might have been true. King Cold could be weaker than Frieza, but he could be stronger than Frieza. Goku doesn't know. So he's gonna need a lot more time, just to make sure he could trust these two before bringing them to Earth, and making sure that he could fight against whatever threat comes their way, including Broly. Goku wakes up not too long after, and tells Paragus he's thought it over. They could leave here soon, but before that, they need to make sure they're strong enough to face off against King Cold. And Paragus says he has no idea how strong King Cold is. But, whatever. It's better to be safe than sorry, especially if King Cold might find their location soon. But Paragus is anxious to get to Earth. He wants to get there as quick as possible so he can kill Vegeta. So first, Goku's going to test out Broly's strength, and Paragus warns Goku. He might not be able to handle it, but Goku says it should be okay, especially with Super Saiyan, which hopefully he's not going to need to use. The two of them begin fighting in base. And this is the first real interaction Goku's had with Broly. He hasn't really said or done much, but now they're actually sparring. And he could tell, Broly's base form is incredibly powerful. Goku's base alone won't be enough to contend against this, but maybe Super Saiyan's overkill. So he decides something right in the middle, going into Kaioken times 10, knowing he can go higher if needed. But even this isn't enough against Broly. They continue fighting for a little longer, and Broly's strength grows mid-battle. Paragus has his hand on the remote, ready to electrocute Broly at any time. Goku goes into Kaioken times 20, and even this isn't enough. Broly continuously grows, getting stronger and stronger, and also getting more frustrated that he can't beat Goku, which means that rage is coming out, and Goku can see what Paragus was talking about. His power is fluctuating so rapidly, and his anger too. Broly's not able to control himself. So Goku's going to try to end this quickly. He's gotten a good gauge of Broly's power, but he doesn't want him to go any further. He transforms into his Super Saiyan, ready to attack and knock Broly out with one blow. But before he can, Broly then powers up too. A greenish aura surrounds him, and he screams, powering far beyond where he was before. But then Goku sees an electrical field around him as Paragus hits the remote, shocking Broly. He stops powering up, then going back into his base, falling down to the ground unconscious. Goku rushes down to catch him. He sees what Paragus was talking about, but still, that's not a way to control his power. They need to actually figure out a better method for that. Electrocuting Broly every time he loses control isn't going to work. Besides the fact that it's just cruel in general, Goku realizes that he's never going to learn this way. And he tells Paragus, maybe he could help Broly, and maybe that'll be a better option first before heading over to Earth. Because what if they get into some fight where Broly can't control his anger, and for some reason the electrocution isn't able to subdue him? And Paragus doesn't want to wait any longer. He wants to head to Earth right now. But Goku says Paragus really doesn't have any bargaining power here. He can't attack Goku because it won't do anything. He could try to sick Broly on Goku, but then Broly will be enraged, and Paragus won't be able to control him, and then Paragus will die that way. And if Goku decided to leave on his own, it's not like Paragus could stop that either, because then he'd be destroying the spaceship, which would be his only way out too. His best option is to just go with Goku's plan. And Goku doesn't want any more trouble. He's not too fond of Paragus, but that's partially due to Paragus' situation, so he kinda understands why Paragus is so agitated about everything. But at the same time, he's going about this all wrong, especially the way he's treating Broly. And even though Paragus doesn't flat out say that he wants to go and kill Vegeta, Goku can tell that he's hiding something. All of this just doesn't sit right with Goku. He needs more time. Eventually, a wish is made to Porunga to try and bring Goku back to Earth, but Goku tells everyone that he's staying here. He doesn't want to leave Broly and Paragus, but doesn't trust Paragus enough, and Broly needs some more training too. They just need to wait a little bit longer, and he tells everyone on Earth he's found another Saiyan. Well, actually two, but one of them is very powerful, and he's gonna bring both of them back to Earth eventually. Vegeta can't believe it when he hears this. First of all, the fact that Goku's alive is amazing, and the fact that he doesn't want to come back. But also, there's another Saiyan out there? Two of them actually? And if Goku's saying he's strong, that must mean he's really powerful because Goku's a Super Saiyan. Goku is the epitome of a strong Saiyan. And Vegeta realizes he probably has more competition. Another Saiyan, possibly stronger than him. And he's also wondering, if there is another Saiyan out there, how did he get out there? How did he escape planet Vegeta? What happened there? It could be a deserter, or maybe it could have just been dumb luck that they escaped at the right time. But Vegeta doesn't want to take the risk. Whoever this is could be trouble, both in terms of strength and their motives. He leaves Earth on a whim, beginning to train immediately. More time passes, and eventually, Trunks appears on Earth like normal. But there's a few differences this time. For one, Vegeta's not there, and Goku's on a completely different planet. He's not going to instant transmission in because he doesn't have instant transmission. Trunks defeats Frieza and King Cold like normal, with no one knowing where Goku is, or where Vegeta is for that matter. And Trunks is kind of concerned at first, but he hears that Vegeta is still alive, he's just off planet. This makes the group a bit suspicious with the fact that Trunks is so concerned about Vegeta, but they don't really question it too much. He seems to know a lot more than just about Vegeta. Trunks was just concerned that maybe Vegeta died, and maybe that means he's not going to be born here, but that's fine. Vegeta's still in the picture somewhere. So, they all wait around. Immediately he jumps off the ship on guard, ready to fight against King Cold and Frieza, because apparently Frieza's back too, which surprises him. But he doesn't sense either of their powers nearby. Two other people step off the ship with Goku. And they're surprised, Goku's wearing some sort of Saiyan armor. Well, his clothes were ripped on Namek and he didn't really have anything else, so he just took whatever he found on this ship. Piccolo then points a finger at him, changing his clothes back to normal. Awesome, he's wanted a new gi, but everyone then addresses the elephant in the room. So, who are these other two Saiyans? Goku introduces everyone, BROLY and Paragus, and then Paragus questions, where's Vegeta? Why does everyone want to know where Vegeta is? First this time-traveling dude, and then this other Saiyan. Paragus plays it off cool. He just heard that Vegeta was around here, and knowing that he's the prince, he wanted to see him. Well, apparently Vegeta's far away in space, training to become a Super Saiyan much earlier on than normal. He's doing this as a precautionary measure, in case he does need that power. But also, he wants the power too. It's not just that he probably will need it, it's that he does want to become a Super Saiyan in general. He'll surpass Kakarot, and whatever other Saiyans out there. Which is kind of funny because he's unaware of Trunks' existence too, and the fact that there's actually another Super Saiyan out there. And he's unaware of the androids as well. He's not going to hear about that info until he's back on Earth. But in the meantime, Trunks can at least inform everyone here. He wonders if things will be okay though. Vegeta's gone, and he hopes Vegeta will come back because otherwise, he's not going to be born here. And who the hell is BROLY and Paragus? He never heard Bulma mention any of these two. And it seems kind of like a big omission. Two other Saiyans with them? Something's not right here. First, Trunks was told that Goku teleported in and killed Frieza himself. There was no other Saiyans involved. And Vegeta was supposed to be here the entire time. Why is he off planet? After giving everyone the info and giving Goku the heart virus medicine, he heads off, thinking about all of this. Hopefully things will turn out okay. But he's not entirely sure. Things aren't adding up. Things aren't normal here. Could it possibly be that the timelines are different? He doesn't know for sure. Now we head into the 3-year time skip. At some point, about a year or so later, Vegeta then comes back, arriving on Earth, confident as ever. He lands at Capsule Corp, and one of the first people to see him is Goku, asking where Vegeta's been. He's been doing intense training in space, and now he's finally accomplished what he's always wanted. He's become a Super Saiyan. And Goku's amazed to hear this. That's awesome, especially because they'll need all the power they can get against the androids. Wait, the androids? Oh yeah, Vegeta needs to be caught up to speed. So, he's caught up to speed. And Goku mentions another thing at the end too. There's two other people on Earth that he'd like Vegeta to meet. Two of the other Saiyans. Finally, at last, Vegeta can meet these two. See how strong they truly are. Especially that one Goku was referring to. But he tells Vegeta, be careful. He's still not too sure about them. And one of them specifically, well, he seems gentler, but when he's actually fighting, his power can get incredibly high. Uncontrollable. One of them seems like not really a great person, while the other one seems pretty innocent by Saiyan standards, but his power's far beyond anything Goku's ever seen before. Possibly enough to even worry a Super Saiyan. But Vegeta doesn't care. He wants to meet these two right now. So, they're called over to Capsule Corp, and Paragus rushes over with BROLY. Paragus is trained in the meantime too. Not growing too much stronger, but decently enough, and Vegeta could sense his power. So, he's stronger than the average Saiyan, but still very weak compared to everybody else here. But that other guy, BROLY, he's the real interesting one. Paragus eyes down Vegeta, and Vegeta notices him stare, and he smirks. What? Is he shocked to see the prince? As Paragus glares Vegeta down, he holds his tongue, but Vegeta can tell. Paragus wants to say something. He wants to do something, and he asks, what's his issue? Clearly that Saiyan isn't happy to see Vegeta here. And why is that? What's going on? Paragus is pissed off, about to respond, but Goku looks at him. Don't blow up against Vegeta. Blowing up is Vegeta's job after all, figuratively and literally. But Vegeta's kind of the issue here. He actually taunts Paragus. No, he tells Goku not to get involved. He wants to know why this guy looks so mad to see Vegeta. Is there something he's holding against him? What did Vegeta do? He's the prince. Why is this guy pissed off at the prince? Shouldn't he be happy to see another Saiyan alive or something? And Paragus is an outburst, screaming at Vegeta, blaming him for everything. Vegeta says he doesn't even know those two, which is actually true. And Paragus blames Vegeta for the sins of his father. It was all King Vegeta's fault, the life that they lived. Like, yeah, they left Vampa earlier than normal, but it's not like they knew when they were gonna leave. Even though they got off Vampa much earlier than they normally did in the series, there's still the fact that they were at Vampa for so long, and the fact that Vegeta tried to kill them. It is still not that great of a situation. But Vegeta assures Paragus he had nothing to do with that. He didn't even know these two until now. He even laughs about it. If he knew there were other Saiyan survivors, he probably would have recruited them against Frieza or something. And Paragus laughs at that idea. From what Paragus can understand, Vegeta just died against Frieza. He didn't do much against him. Goku was the one who killed Frieza. Or at least defeated, because he did end up alive still, so. Moot point though. Paragus says he isn't scared of Vegeta, and Vegeta questions that. Really now. So, he thinks Goku's power is great because he's a Super Saiyan, right? Before Vegeta's about to interject, Paragus then screams, sicking BROLY on Vegeta. Goku tries to stop both of them, but it's already too late. BROLY doesn't really know what to do here, and he's getting pissed off too seeing Vegeta and Paragus argue. And Goku thought he prepared them for this, but apparently not. All those years of essentially being brainwashed by Paragus still didn't have an effect on BROLY, making him want to attack Vegeta here. The two begin fighting in base, and Vegeta's actually a little bit shocked at BROLY's power. Wow, for a Saiyan who hasn't even transformed, and who's been stuck on some deserted planet for so long, he's strong. He's actually around Vegeta's level right now. But that's actually not the full extent of it. BROLY continues growing stronger, showcasing more power as he gets angrier. First, Vegeta's defending against BROLY's attacks, and then it turns into a full-on battle, where Vegeta just can't confidently defend against everything. He starts taking some damage, and he starts dealing out some damage too. So, this Saiyan has more power than he expected. But he tells Paragus shouldn't have sicked BROLY on Vegeta. If he didn't so rudely interrupt Vegeta, Vegeta was about to give him a nice tidbit of information, something that would have prevented Paragus from doing this in the first place. He wasn't looking to use this against BROLY, but he doesn't really have a choice now. Where does Paragus think he's been for so long? Vegeta's been off-planet, training, and has unlocked something deep within him that he knew he could find. BROLY punches at Vegeta, but Vegeta grabs the fist, and BROLY tries to jerk his hand back, but he can't. He throws another punch, Vegeta grabs that too. He smirks, and a golden aura begins surrounding him. Everyone looks on dumbfounded. They already know exactly what this is. Vegeta fully powers up, with his hair flickering golden and his eyes turning a bluish color. He looks just like Goku, and Trunks for that matter. He's become a Super Saiyan. That's right, there's another. It's not just Kakarot and whoever that random time traveler was that Vegeta's heard a little about. He's a Super Saiyan as well. He begins to completely decimate BROLY. The gap in power is too huge now, and Goku tells Vegeta to not mess around. He has to end this quick before BROLY can power up even more. But also at the same time, don't hurt BROLY. They gotta stop this. And Paragus tells Goku to shut up. Who cares if BROLY loses control? He still has the remote. But then he notices something strange during the battle. As he pulls out the remote, BROLY doesn't have a collar. Wait, where did that go? And that's why Goku was so nervous. He couldn't just let BROLY keep that on. There was no point in it. Well, there was a point. It controlled BROLY, but it was so cruel to do so. And it's like Goku was telling Paragus before. There's better ways to control his power. Thankfully, now that they're on Earth, BROLY isn't around Paragus 24/7. And Goku was able to get BROLY to remove the collar, convincing him to do so. But he really should have accounted for this, knowing that Vegeta would probably try and piss off Paragus somehow. But really, that's on Vegeta more than anyone. Paragus was going to remain calm, but Vegeta then taunted him. It's not really fun for Goku to be kind of a babysitter for 3 grown Saiyans. BROLY then begins powering up, with a greenish aura surrounding him. Not that form. Goku knows exactly what BROLY's about to do. He's going into a form that he's seen him use before, as he powers up into Wrathful, and Vegeta's intrigued to see this form. Interesting. His rage has manifested itself in this way. The power of a great ape, it seems. But now that gap between the two is closed, and as much as Goku hates the idea of meddling in someone else's fight, he kinda needs to here. He powers up into Super Saiyan, flying upwards to fight with Vegeta. Vegeta's a little ticked off, telling Kakarot not to meddle, but Goku tells Vegeta. Does Vegeta see what Goku's been warning him about? Look how fast BROLY's power is increasing, and it's still getting higher and higher, and he can't control it either. If they don't end this right now, BROLY's gonna kill Vegeta, and possibly even destroy Earth, not being able to control his strength. Reluctantly, Vegeta then fights alongside Goku. They can't really coordinate too well, but in terms of pure strength, the two of them have that on their side. It is 2 Super Saiyans after all, and Goku kinda knows BROLY's fighting style by now. Well, when he's kind of berserk like this, he gets kinda sloppy too, even though he adapts during battle, which makes it even easier for Goku to try and predict his movements and such. Combine that with the brute strength and battle strategies of Vegeta, they're able to push BROLY back, and he tells Vegeta, time to put his full power into it. Goku charges a Kamehameha, and Vegeta gets next to him midair, not fond of the idea of teaming up with Kakarot, but he does so anyways. He charges a Gallic Gun, and the two launch the attacks in unison right at BROLY. Thankfully, it's enough to damage him and knock him out. Vegeta notes that this is kinda weird. He feels some sort of deja vu, but he can't really tell why. He's never been in a battle like this before. But as the two power down, Vegeta then punches Goku right in the face, telling him to stay out of his way. Goku says that was kinda mean. There was no point in doing that. But Vegeta's kinda pissed off. Goku didn't have to meddle in that battle like he said. But Goku tells Vegeta he did it out of necessity, otherwise Vegeta would have died. He saw how powerful BROLY was growing. But Vegeta's far too prideful about this. He just got Super Saiyan and couldn't win a battle alone, and he kinda blames Goku for it. He says he could have done it on his own, even though both of them kinda know that's not true. This makes Vegeta even angrier, and he powers back up into Super Saiyan, beckoning Goku towards him. He knows a way to settle this, fighting. But Goku says, can't that wait? I mean, they just fought Broly, shouldn't they heal up and get their full power again? But Vegeta says no, this is happening right now, and Paragus laughs. Maybe Goku will kill that fool. Paragus is still not necessarily too fond of Goku either right now, especially after what he just did removing Broly's collar. Vegeta launches in towards Goku, and Goku has no choice. He powers up into Super Saiyan as well. Well, this could be fun at least, and a good way to test Vegeta's power. And Vegeta tells him to shut up, take this seriously. They need to settle this here and now, and the two begin battling. But amidst the fight, Goku tries to calm Vegeta down. Now isn't the time for a fight, they should do that later. Well, now that he thinks about it, no, maybe this will be a good idea. It'll be a good way to start their training against the androids. So, maybe it's a good idea to take this seriously. And he tells the others. He may have found a perfect training partner for himself. Broly was too strong and too volatile. Vegeta's just around a similar level of power. And this way for Vegeta, they can at least settle the score once more. The two continue their battle, and it's pretty long and drawn out. Goku ends up winning, having an edge in power, and there's also the fact that Vegeta was a little bit more worn out because he's been fighting Broly for longer. And Goku tells Vegeta, he said they should have waited until they're back at their full strength again, so they'll fight again later. Paragus is still pissed at Goku though. Why do you remove Broly's collar? They all could have died. And Goku says Paragus shouldn't have had Broly attack Vegeta. Yeah, Vegeta coaxed him into it, but Paragus should have kept his cool. Broly starts to wake up, and Goku is talking with everyone. They can't keep being adversaries like this. Goku's on pretty good terms with Broly at least, but Paragus and Broly hate Vegeta. Vegeta doesn't really like them either. And there's animosity between Goku and Paragus. They need to stop this. And Goku reminds Paragus, he should be thankful to be here too, instead of on Vampa. Earth is a nice place, and he shouldn't make it a hostile environment like this. Goku tells Paragus that he hopes he made the right choice by bringing him here. And Paragus is frustrated, but then storms off. If this is how it's gonna be, Paragus might need to train himself as well. And he wonders, he still has his youth. Maybe he could become a Super Saiyan. Maybe he could become incredibly powerful. But he's not entirely sure. He'll figure out a way to do so. If he can't rely on Broly's power, he could rely on his own. Now he's in a good spot to actually train, and eventually we finally arrive at the Android Saga. Although there's going to be a few changes to begin with. Besides the fact that Broly's here, Vegeta got here earlier and started training again earlier, there's also the fact that Goku actually ended up taking his heart virus medicine. I know, groundbreaking stuff. And as I mentioned in a lot of my videos, I use the theory that Goku got his heart virus from how he lived as a kid rather than getting it from Yardrat, but it doesn't really matter here if he's taking the medicine anyways. So whether or not he actually got it in the scenario, it doesn't matter, he's fine. Much better for him, of course. 19 and 20 show up. Of course, they don't realize these aren't the same two androids that Trunks was telling them about. But still, two androids appearing exactly where Trunks told them exactly at the same time, this all adds up for them. So why did Goku actually take the medicine this time? Well, there's a few reasons. For one, Goku's actually more concerned this time. Not only is he worried about the androids, but Vegeta's a little bit of a loose cannon still, and he's still concerned about Broly and Paragus, at least at first. Over the 3 years, everyone kinda calms down, but there's still some sort of animosity there, so Goku's watching his step. But mainly because, during their training, Vegeta calls Goku an idiot for not taking his medicine. Vegeta wasn't even here when that Trunks kid showed up, but even he remembered that Goku's supposed to take that soon. And Goku thanks Vegeta. He's a lifesaver, literally. Vegeta's embarrassed to hear this. He didn't do it for Goku. He did it so they'd have a better chance against those stupid robots, and Vegeta would still have a good training partner. But once the androids actually show up, they're not really too concerned. I mean, Goku and Vegeta have been training a lot together, and have also been training Gohan a bit as well. Not really Vegeta, but Gohan's joining in the training with Goku at least. Broly has been training with them though, and he's learning to control his rage better. Also, controlling his resentment towards Vegeta. Hell, even Paragus joins in on the battle. The group doesn't really know why, but Paragus has been training more himself as well. We're learning to rely more on his own power. And it's better this way too. Paragus says he doesn't have many years left before he starts rapidly aging, so he wants to use his power to its fullest while he can. So once they encounter the androids, 19 is defeated incredibly easily. 20 is still able to escape, trying to even take some power from Broly as he does, but he realizes that he's heavily outmatched. Besides the fact that Goku's actually there this time to fight against them, there's also Broly and Paragus too. And Paragus isn't incredibly strong, but it's still an extra person. Trunks returns, glad to see Vegeta here, but also confused as to what's going on here. And he's really relieved to see that he was actually bored on this timeline. Okay, that's good too. While on top of Vegeta being here, Goku's still alive, so that's okay. But apparently the two androids that were here aren't the same ones that he saw before. And also in the meantime he asked Bulma about Broly and Paragus and she knew nothing of them. Well, at least they seem like okay people, but still. He's come to realize, this definitely is not the same timeline now. Either they were separate to begin with, or he changed it somehow. Point is, they're not the same. And that means he's not really going to restore his future, but that's fine. He can at least save this timeline. Or help save it. Even though one of the androids is defeated, the other one still escaped. And 17 and 18 still haven't shown up yet. That concerns him. And of course, in the meantime, Gero goes back to his lab and starts to activate 17 and 18, who are slightly stronger, given the fact that they're also working with more data too. This goes kind of like normal. They kill Gero and eventually activate 16 too, with the group arriving on the scene not long later. And Trunks says these are the 2 androids, but he didn't realize there was a 3rd one here. Actually, I guess a 5th one now? But whatever, the other 2 are dead. There's only these 3 to worry about now. So, at least that's better than 5. 16, 17, and 18 are really glad to see Goku there. Obviously, he's their main target, so they begin going right for him. Goku powers up immediately into Super Saiyan, telling the others to power up as well. He's not going to be able to do this alone. Trunks and Vegeta power up in unison, and Vegeta's intrigued to see what his future son is capable of. He had enough power to defeat Frieza and King Cold. He should be able to defeat these robots. Trunks doesn't show sure, but the 3 of them all jump in. Paragus tries to power up, and he's stronger than before. Actually, significantly stronger than before. It's great having facilities on Earth where he could train in and actually heal himself, unlike Vampa. But he still hasn't tapped into Super Saiyan, but he knows he's close. Maybe this fight could help push him over the edge. And then he could best Vegeta himself. If not that, then BROLY could do so, because the tides of the battle then turn as BROLY powers up. At first he's fighting in base, but he eventually goes into Wrathful. Over the past 3 years, he's been working with Goku and Vegeta, trying to get control of this power. Vegeta was actually a huge help, having knowledge of the Great Ape form and giving BROLY some pointers on how to control this, and he was intrigued. Yeah, he didn't really like the idea that BROLY was some sort of loose cannon that's probably stronger than him and probably could kill him. But he was intrigued to see him utilizing the power of a Great Ape in his base form. That's actually pretty cool. And now, BROLY has control of this. Sure, it's not Super Saiyan just yet, but it's BROLY. He's pretty much on the level of the 3 other Super Saiyans, if not a little above. And this makes Trunks confident. 3 Super Saiyans, and then another really strong Saiyan on their side. Maybe they could actually defeat the androids. And yeah, they could have. They're able to overwhelm 17 and 18. But with 16 in the battle, that kind of makes things a little bit more difficult. Trunks curses it. If there's only 2 androids here, they definitely would have been able to win. But with 16 there, he kind of evens everything out. There's a stalemate. 16 even duels against BROLY. The 2 tanks of each side of the battle fighting each other. And with BROLY drawn away from the other 2, they're able to fend off the 3 Super Saiyans, and everyone else for that matter, pretty easily. And the androids let them in on a little bit of a secret. Yeah, they might be even in terms of power right now, but 17 comments on this. They won't be able to keep this up forever. What does he mean? Well, they have infinite energy. At some point, they will win this battle. That's why they're not worried. Even if everyone's evenly matched right now, soon enough, they'll get tired out. But 16, 17, and 18, they'll still be perfectly fine. They might be able to figure out a way to win here, but it's a little bit too risky, especially knowing how Trunks' timeline turned out. Thankfully, someone else jumps in to help. Gohan and Krillin jump in, each performing a solar flare, blinding 17 and 18 as Broly's able to get away from 16. And Trunks says that was a good call, remembering future Gohan using that same technique before too. Vegeta still wants to fight, and Goku still kinda does too, but they realize it's probably better to escape, so they listen to Trunks and get out of there, utilizing the open that Krillin and Gohan made for them. 16 can't track them, but the good thing is, 17 and 18 have no clue of where everyone went. They're gonna need to figure out something different. And Piccolo has an idea too. The group decides to split up right now. The Saiyans retreat, going to Gravity Train first while Goku tries to think of another idea. And meanwhile, Piccolo then goes up to the lookout, which makes Goku remember. How did he forget? They should go up there too to the Room of Spirit and Time. And by the time they get up there, they see that Piccolo and Kami have merged. And Piccolo says this will definitely help them in their battle. And everyone's amazed at Piccolo's strength. Holy crap, he's the strongest one here right now. And he still urges them to try and do their training. The thing is, with the androids being stronger, Piccolo can't fend off against them alone. He's gonna need all of them in battle, and it wouldn't hurt to get a little bit of extra strength, especially if they have the time now that they've escaped from the androids. But Piccolo notes something interesting. There's a strange presence that he feels. Kami noticed it too before they merged. Well, it's not just one presence. He sensed 2 very odd energies, which makes no sense. There's the 3 androids, and no one can sense the power from them. They don't know what this is, but Piccolo says he'll check it out. Piccolo goes to check out that weird presence, but as he tries to find it, he notices something else. There's 2 weird powers nearby, but he can't really put his finger on what they are. One is very subtle, and one's more pronounced than the others. Of course, these powers show up at the worst time. As he leaves the lookout, the rest of the group decides what to do. Some of them are going to go in the time chamber for a bit, but they don't really need too much time, they think. They almost did overcome the androids, and it might be better to get this done sooner rather than later, which, admittedly, they should have just done in the first place. Stopping the androids before they were a problem, but hindsight is 20/20. So instead of everyone spending a day in the time chamber, they decide maybe they only need a few hours each, rotating in and out. And if it turns out they do need more time, well, that's fine. They'll be able to just go right back in. This way everyone can regroup after some time has passed in there, and if anyone discovers anything interesting, everyone else will be able to hear it. The first ones to go in are BROLY and Paragus. BROLY would probably benefit the most from this training anyways. And they're not too sure who should go in with, but Paragus decides to do this. BROLY does have his trainings with Goku in mind. He knows by now the best ways to train himself. He doesn't necessarily need a strong training partner, And as for Paragus, he's still looking towards Super Saiyan. This will help push him over the edge, and maybe he'll be able to get a control on Broly's anger. But they're wondering exactly how he's going to do that, especially considering his methods beforehand. But he tells everybody he does know Broly best after all, and he assures them he'll know a way around this. And he says to himself he'll become a Super Saiyan, and he'll use that power to defeat not only the androids, but Vegeta too. Meanwhile, Piccolo arrives on the surface, going to his city where it's completely empty, and of course he encounters Cell. And at first this encounter goes very normally, although at some point in the battle, Cell notices something really strange. And Piccolo notes it too. It's that same presence he felt from before, and he asks Cell, does he have any clue of what that is? And Cell is equally confused. No, he senses this. The energy disappears not too long after, but Cell looks very worried for some reason, and Piccolo can't really see why. What, is he scared that another person is going to defeat him somehow? And Cell says it's not that. No, that energy that he felt, it feels so similar. And Piccolo asks what he knows. But once that other key signature disappears and he's back to sensing Cell, he comes to a pretty terrifying conclusion. Both of the key signatures feel very familiar. That other one that he was sensing, it felt kind of like Cell here. Different, but very similar still. He grabs Cell, asking him what he knows. And Cell says he's truly dumbfounded. It can't be him. If that's actually him that they're sensing, that makes no sense at all. I mean, he shouldn't have awoken for another few years. Even longer, actually. There's no way he's woken in this timeline too. He's already explained to Piccolo that he's not actually from this timeline either. And Cell wonders, is this another android that he could probably absorb? Or maybe it's another version of himself that's awoken early somehow. One option could probably be very good for him. The other one, not so much. But what he does know is that he can't stick around here with Piccolo. He tries to create a distraction, using a solar flare to escape. He'll get the other two androids first. If that is another version of him that's running around somewhere, then as long as he becomes perfect first, he'll be fine. But still, what is that? Is it him from another timeline? Or is it another version of Cell that's not like him at all? Not long after Cell disappears, some of the others from the lookout come down to where Piccolo is. Mainly because Vegeta wanted to see what was going on, and Trunks followed him too. Vegeta's pretty pissed off that he didn't get to go in the room Spirit in time first, but whatever. This might actually be good. He'll get to see how Broly grows and be able to adapt to that. He'll have the upper hand anyways. A few hours pass. Piccolo continues looking for the other androids. Even if he can't defeat Cell right now, he could probably defeat 17 and 18. Probably 16 too. He's not entirely sure though. He can't really sense their ki after all. As he looks for them, Broly and Paragus eventually exit the time chamber. And Paragus reveals this was just what they needed. Both of them have achieved Super Saiyan. And Paragus shows it off. It's not incredibly strong compared to the other Super Saiyans, but still, another Super Saiyan? That might be helpful here. But Paragus is still pissed off because he knows everyone's underestimating him. They're more interested in seeing that Broly has Super Saiyan. And he does, and he has some control over it. Thanks to him already having controlled Wrathful before, he's able to actually kind of somewhat control Super Saiyan. But there are points where he might end up going berserk, so Paragus decided it probably wasn't best to push Broly too far in the time chamber. Especially because if Broly went berserk while in Super Saiyan, there would be no one there to bail him out, and Paragus would be dead, and Broly would be trapped in there probably. Not good. Goku was actually right, as much as Paragus hates to admit it. Paragus used his own knowledge of Broly, as well as any methods that he learned from Goku, and used that to train Broly to get Super Saiyan. Broly's insane growth allowed him to gain a new power without too much time in there. And now Vegeta and Trunks can head in, with Vegeta now knowing what level he has to surpass. If Broly's a Super Saiyan, well, Vegeta will just go beyond Super Saiyan. Broly and Paragus join Piccolo, as Goku and Gohan stay on the lookout training a little bit. A few hours pass. Vegeta and Trunks are about to exit too. At some point, Piccolo is able to find the androids, and this won't be too bad. With Broly and Paragus on his side, mainly Broly, they'll be able to defeat the androids very easily. First they can kill 16, 17, 18, and then Cell. The androids are amused to see these three again, telling them they're a little cocky trying to fight on their own. Last time they had a whole group and they couldn't even win. What makes them think they're going to win this time? Well, Piccolo powers up, immediately attacking 17, with 17 realizing the difference in power. Paragus then transforms into Super Saiyan, rushing in towards 18, while Broly then goes to fight 16. And he doesn't even transform, not into Wrathful either. He's just using his base power. At least for now. The androids are dumbfounded. How did they get this strong this quickly? There was such a gap in power before, this makes no sense. This fight goes pretty quickly. Especially with everyone here, they decide to all team up on one android first, which means they aim for 17, and they have the androids cornered. Broly tries to hold off 16 and 18 together, while also assisting Paragus and Piccolo as they try and fight 17, and they're about to land a finishing blow on him. But as Broly's holding off the other two androids, someone then punches him. Not doing too much damage, but Broly immediately gets back up, powering into Wrathful. Super Saiyan might be a little risky, but he could use this at least. He rushes back in immediately, and starts fighting Cell, and Broly notes something strange. Cell's power. Does he have his ki within him? That makes no sense. How did Cell get his energy if he's from another timeline? He holds off Cell, and Piccolo and Paragus have to divert their attention, going to fight Cell as well. They can't let him absorb any of the androids. But amidst the fight, they feel another power surge nearby. Looking over, they see 17's disappeared, and Cell is standing there. Wait, what? They're fighting Cell though. And then they realize. It's like Piccolo and Cell theorized before. There's two Cells here. But then, who is this other one? And why does he have Broly's power too? One Cell is able to absorb Android 17, and one is able to absorb Android 18. Oh crap. As the two Cells power up, they stare each other down. Each sense the other one, knowing that they'd have to compete over the androids here. The Cell that absorbed Android 17 was the one that fought Piccolo, the one from the future. And he asks who the other Cell is. He says he didn't time travel here at all. No, he actually just awakened very recently. He tells the group they probably should have checked on Jiro's lab. Future Cell's confused. How did he awaken so early? And present Cell tells him, well, he's had a few different developments, thanks to the difference in timelines here. Jiro wanted to be extra prepared, so he wanted to make sure that Cell would awaken a lot sooner. Not to mention, he has a lot more data too, and that's why they sense Broly's power within him. He has Broly's DNA as well. He awakened a little bit earlier than the other androids, and he's mainly just been going around absorbing small animals and people to get power. And with DNA like Broly's, he's a lot stronger than the other Cell, even though they're both just in their semi-perfect form. Future Cell tries to fight present Cell, and immediately it's clear that there's a gap in power. He can't believe it. There's no way there's another Cell that's stronger than him. He's supposed to be the perfect android. There can't be two perfect androids. Piccolo, Broly, and Paragus stand back, with 16 joining them too, angered that he couldn't protect the other two androids. He looks over at them. They're not going to like this idea, but maybe if they team up, combining all their powers, they could at least try and defeat one Cell. And this might be a blessing in disguise. This means neither of the Cells could transform into their perfect state, because each of them is missing an android. But Piccolo questions this. He's an android too. Can't one of the Cells just absorb him? But 16's purely mechanical. He says they don't need to worry about that. And he will assist them in this. Even though his main objective is Goku, Cell is getting in the way of that objective, so he'll need to deal with that. Both Cells actually. Present Cell tells Future Cell he's superior. He has Broly's power. He awakened earlier for a reason. And you know, even though he's missing one android, well, if he absorbs Future Cell, he'll probably still transform into his perfect state, and he'll get some extra power from Future Cell as well. It'll be a win-win. The rest of the group over there then jumps in, fighting Future Cell. They're gonna aim for him first, because maybe they can work with Future Cell. If they team up against the stronger Cell first, that might be better. If they team up against the weaker one, well, that would make no difference. That would mean present Cell would just end up winning, absorbing the other Cell. This way, they at least have a better chance of killing one of the Cells. Of course, Future Cell doesn't really like this idea, but 16 tells him this is the only way he's gonna survive. Just work with them for now. Cell can't believe this. He has to lower himself to this, and it's not like he really has a choice. He wanted to fight the other Cell alone, but he definitely can't win. And if he tries to kill them, he's gonna leave an opening for the other Cell to absorb him. Whatever, he swallows his pride and joins in on the battle. Broly even powers up into Super Saiyan, showing it off much to everyone's surprise. And he's maintaining some control over it, but still, he has to hold back a little bit of his power because if he uses too much, he might go berserk. And Present Cell tries to coax him into using more of it. This is interesting. None of his data with Broly showed that he had Super Saiyan. Maybe he awakened a bit too early. But hey, he does have Broly's DNA after all, so he'll grow just as fast as he can. Paragus looks over to Broly. He should try and use his full power here. But Broly's concerned. If he does that, he doesn't know what's going to happen. It might help against Cell, but it could end up killing everyone else too. But Paragus tells him, if that Cell has Broly's power, he's going to be growing incredibly quick. It's now or never. If they don't stop him at this moment, who knows how strong he'll grow, and they'll never have another opportunity to defeat him. He tells Broly he's learned to control his anger before. Maybe he could do that, and worst case, they'll figure out a way to stop him. But for now, he just needs to use that power. That way they could turn the tides of this fight. Broly's still hesitant, and he was kind of looking forward to using Super Saiyan normally in this battle, but it seems there's no choice. He powers up even more. A greenish aura surrounds him. His eyes go blank, and his hair, it turns from a golden color to a greenish color. Piccolo, 16, and Future Cell stand back, amazed at this power. With Present Cell taunting Broly, he can't wait against to fight someone that's his equal like that. But something's wrong. Broly's power got far beyond where he ever expected. He didn't even know Broly had Super Saiyan here just yet. But this isn't even Super Saiyan that he's using right now. It's a new version of Super Saiyan, his own version of it. Broly's become completely berserk, but at the same time, he's grown significantly, both in terms of power and in actual size. This is Broly's full power version of Super Saiyan, completely uncontrolled and unrestrained. Thankfully, with him even being blinded by his rage, he's still able to tell that Cell's his main target. And Cell continues growing significantly during the battle, and even with some of the damage he's taking from Broly, he regenerates from it, even growing stronger from that too. But unlike the other androids, he can be worn out. Future Cell tells everyone he doesn't have infinite energy like the other androids. His regeneration's only going to go so far, And as much as he hates to reveal it, he tells them, as long as they can destroy Cell's core, that will allow them to win here. He realizes he's giving his own weakness up this way too, but he'll figure out something about it later. And now, present Cell's actually being pushed back significantly. Not only is he facing BROLY's full power, but still he's also fighting Paragus, Piccolo, Future Cell, and 16. Their combined power is overwhelming present Cell, and they know his weakness too. BROLY charges in, using all of his power to launch towards present Cell, charging a mouth beam and launching it point blank. The force of it is so strong that it pushes BROLY back, and Paragus tells everyone, this is their call. Now's the time to use their power too and assist BROLY. Together, everyone launches a full power blast, combining with BROLY's and destroying present Cell. BROLY then stands there victorious, screaming, but he looks around at everyone else, immediately launching in towards them, attacking the others next. Piccolo's concerned. What the hell are they supposed to do now? But luckily for them, BROLY's first target is Future Cell. Immediately, Future Cell launches away, flying out into space. He's got to retreat here. There's no way he'll win against them like this. But he realizes as he flies out into space, BROLY's still following him. BROLY flies out of the atmosphere, with Piccolo and Paragus chasing after him. He's gonna die if he goes out there. But this ends up actually working. BROLY makes it out into space, briefly, and he starts to feel lightheaded. With a lack of oxygen, he feels a lot weaker, and then he fades into unconsciousness, falling back down to Earth, with Cell watching on. Oh, he didn't even really intend to do that. He flies back down to Earth, as Piccolo and Paragus catch BROLY and land on the surface where 16 is. Cell then lands nearby, and he tells them, in all honesty, he kinda had fun with that battle. He's annoyed that he couldn't get his perfect form, but he feels like he can get it eventually, and because of that, he's not gonna kill them here and now. With BROLY now unconscious, Cell could probably easily win here. Consider this a favor, for them helping him against the other Cell. And amidst their talk, Vegeta and Trunks eventually arrive, having now just left the room of Spirit and Time, switching out with Goku and Gohan. With both into Super Saiyan, they're confused seeing Cell and the fact that 2 of the androids are missing, and they don't even have time to get a word in. Cell simply smirks, jumping back up into the air, rocketing out in space too fast for anyone to even counter him. Cell thinks to himself, it would be more fun to not kill them after all. This group would be a great way to test his strength in the future. Not to mention, amidst his fight with the other Cell, he was able to actually stab present Cell at one point, stealing a very minute amount of his energy, which means he has some of that DNA too. Maybe he could utilize BROLY's great potential for himself now, although he's not too sure how much data he actually got from the other Cell by absorbing his DNA. Time will tell though. He'll remain in space for the time being, training and growing stronger. After all, if he stays there, they'll definitely find a way to kill him. They know his weakness too, so maybe he should try and work around that as well. Vegeta and Trunks look on dumbfounded, asking what the hell happened here, and Piccolo simply responds, he doesn't know either. Paragus powers down, lifting up BROLY, and they all look over at 16. He is a bit broken up from that battle after all, and thankfully he's not attacking them or anything right now. Vegeta lifts a hand up, ready to kill 16, but Piccolo actually stops him. Vegeta asks what he's doing, and Trunks does too, but Piccolo has a better idea. He decides to make a bargain with 16. He can get 16 the repairs that he needs, if he's willing to be reprogrammed. Naturally, 16 turns this down, but also knows that if he doesn't do this, he's good as dead. So reluctantly, he ends up agreeing to it. Saying at this rate, with how powerful everyone else is here, and not knowing what Goku's up to, he probably won't be able to defeat Goku anyways. Android 16 is reprogrammed, just like Piccolo wanted to do, and Bulma's confused. She asks why Piccolo even spared him. Well, Piccolo mentions that he did seem pretty strong, and he did help them out after all. His only target seemed to be Goku, but otherwise, he thought maybe Bulma could just remove that. He'd be a valuable addition to their crew. Imagine having one of the androids but good. There was no purpose in just killing him, especially considering he wasn't really causing problems like the other androids. But he does wonder about them though. One did die with Present Cell and one is with Future Cell right now. But Piccolo's also a little bit concerned about Cell. If Present Cell grew that strong, he hopes Future Cell can't get to that level. He knows that at least Present Cell's strength is mostly attributed to having BROLY's DNA. But who's to say Future Cell can't obtain that too? Maybe he already has and they don't even know it. And he's still strong regardless, with BROLY's DNA or not. Vegeta interjects. He says they need to locate that bastard before he does anything else. Paragus says it's impossible though. He fought Cell firsthand. He's cunning. He's probably far gone by now and is going to lay low in whatever way possible. And Vegeta and Paragus begin arguing again. Vegeta says they could just take a spaceship, go seek him out. What's so hard about that? He'd rather settle this now while they can, before Cell gets too strong somehow. And Paragus says Vegeta would be stupid to do so, but be his guest. He'll just die unless BROLY tags along. BROLY doesn't necessarily like the idea. They don't even know where to look. Plus, he's worried about going berserk. But Vegeta mentions he's much stronger than they think, although he doesn't really have a great gauge of Cell's strength. And deep down, he kinda knows Paragus is right. Maybe he should have spent more time in that time chamber. That could really help them here. Goku and Gohan decide to take the full day. They exit, having mastered Super Saiyan, and they see that everything's actually fine on the outside. Oh, then was that for nothing? Well, not really. They got some great training in. It's just that they don't have to use it against Cell, so it's kind of good, at least. So they go to Capsule Corp, still in Super Saiyan, and then realizing, hey, you know what? We should probably power down now. Looks like they have nothing to use his power for at the moment, at least until Cell returns. Trunks is concerned though, hoping that the Cell in his timeline isn't too powerful, but Bulma says it shouldn't be a problem. Trunks mentioned that there was no BROLY in the future, at least not that he knows of, so he never came to Earth and Cell wouldn't have his DNA. At worst, if there is a Cell, he's gonna be like the one from the future, or the other future. All this timeline stuff's getting confusing for them. He still thinks he should prepare though. They were a bit hasty with the Room of Spirit and Time, so he's gonna go back in, with Vegeta too. They'll use the remaining time to master Super Saiyan. They have a lot of extra time to spare actually. And thankfully, they don't have the threat of Cell on the outside anymore, so there's no worry of them being in there and Cell doing something bad. The concern before was the androids. But now they could be in there a little bit more carefree. And while they go in, Goku wants to test Broly's power. Now that he's using Super Saiyan as his full power, he wonders how useful this form is, especially against someone like Broly. And he does want to see how much Broly has grown. Broly tells Goku he wouldn't mind that, but he tells Goku he doesn't really have full control of Super Saiyan, especially if pushed to his full power, then he goes completely berserk. But with just normal Super Saiyan and kind of restraining himself, he can contain it, and he shows it off to Goku by transforming. Goku's amazed by this power. It's just like he saw before anyways. He even sensed it when Broly was fighting Cell. Maybe if he had this version of Super Saiyan with him when Cell arrived, he would have been able to help there. But unfortunately, he couldn't really get involved. But now, with this strength, he's much better than before. And Gohan too. He has the same exact power. The two of them fight Broly together, with Paragus watching on. He's intrigued by their strength, especially that hybrid kid. And Piccolo watches from the sidelines too. He's a bit concerned about Broly and tells Paragus about this. He's witnessed his strength beforehand and how he lost control. It's like when he trained Gohan before. Maybe he could fix it. And this catches Paragus by surprise. What, Piccolo thinks he could help with that? If he and Goku could do nothing, he doesn't really think that Piccolo can. No offense. But Piccolo reminds Paragus he saw his power against the androids, against Cell. Piccolo has the strength to back it up, and he has the wisdom to back it up too. All the wisdom of himself and of Kami. And that reminds him, oh yeah, they actually need to find a new Kami. The fight between Broly, Goku, and Gohan ends, with Broly of course winning. Although it's partially because Goku and Gohan didn't really want to push Broly over the edge on accident. They just wanted a gauge of his current power. Vegeta exits the Room of Spirit and Time not too long after with Trunks. Both of them have mastered Super Saiyan, and Vegeta declares he's finally surpassed Kakarot, and next is Broly. He's very prideful about it, and Trunks is happy about it too. Not shoving it in everyone's face, but he's glad. This will definitely help against the androids. And it seems everything's wrapping up pretty nicely. Trunks decides it's now time to head home, thanking everyone for everything. And he also asks, where did they find Broly again? It was some planetoid called Vampa, and that makes Trunks wonder if he could ever find Broly somewhere. Well, first they need to kill the androids and Cell, and then Trunks can think about space travel. Maybe he could even go to Namek, who knows? It's gonna be hard to find both of those planets though, if he even decides to look. Trunks heads home, and Piccolo mentions the next order of business should be them going out into space. Earth probably does need a new Guardian, especially if they want the Dragon Balls back. And Goku says they could just go back to Namek. It would be great if they had a way to teleport there or something, but whatever, that's not possible. Although it's gonna be a bit tough to find new Namek. Thankfully, with some help from King Kai, they are able to locate it. It takes some time because they need a new, more powerful spaceship. But eventually they have a second trip to Namek, hoping that this time they don't encounter any space emperors or whatever. They also have a bigger crew than before with more power, so at least they can kind of hedge against it. When they arrive back on Namek, the Namekians are really glad to see Goku's okay after he escaped. When Porunga tried to bring him back to Earth, they know that Goku ended up somewhere strange, and they're glad he made it back to Earth safely. They're not too fond of Vegeta being there, but at least he seems to have calmed down a bit. And they're surrounded by all these other people, so if Vegeta did try something, they're not too concerned. Mori's also glad to see Piccolo, noting a strange presence within him. He can sense Nail in there obviously, but also, has he merged with someone else? Well, his former self actually. Not really your standard Namekian fusion here. He's essentially the nameless Namekian he once was. And Mori's fascinated, wondering how great Piccolo's potential is. Now with the power of Nail and Kami within him, he's far stronger than before of course. But he also notes, that potential could be just as interesting as his raw strength at the moment. And Piccolo finds it interesting that Mori would mention that. As the rest of the group talks to the other Namekians, and also Dende, Piccolo asks. He knows about Grand Elder Guru being able to unlock people's potential, and he wonders if that could be done on himself or even someone else in the group. And Mori says yeah, he's the new Grand Elder after all. He could do that for everyone here actually. Well, not really everyone here. Piccolo knows that doing it for Broly would probably be a little bit too dangerous on second thought. And also, if he tried it on anyone else, he'd be worried about Vegeta asking for it too. Vegeta's already the strongest here besides Broly, and he still is a concern even though he's kinda calmed down a bit. He's not sure about Gohan, but he wonders if Goku would even accept that, having power handed to him that way. Either way though, if they were to unlock somebody's potential, Piccolo thinks it could work as a deterrent for Vegeta and for Broly's rage. Mori says he'll unlock Piccolo's potential, and they'll just keep it their little secret. but he does tell Piccolo. He hasn't really tested this out yet, but he decides, hey, this is a perfect time to do it anyways. Mori puts his hand on Piccolo's head, trying to draw out Piccolo's power. He closes his eyes, and then he gasps. This catches Piccolo off guard, wondering what's wrong, but just as he does so, a huge pillar of orange ki surrounds Piccolo, with his power exploding. Everyone else senses this too. Piccolo and Mori have moved away from them, but they can see in the distance. It's almost like a plume of lava coming out of the planet, but it's not lava, it's ki. Vegeta's stunned. What is this power? Mori's hand remains on Piccolo's head. He kinda wants to draw it back, but at the same time, he doesn't feel like he can. This power within Piccolo, what the hell is this? Piccolo has a fierce ki around him. He can't contain the power, and he's actually a bit mortified by it. The strength. How is he supposed to contain it? Desperately he tries to, and he is barely able to. And he asks Mori what the hell happened there, and Mori says his potential, it's far higher than he could have ever expected. He nervously laughs though, joking that it should be enough of a deterrent for Piccolo, and Piccolo has no idea of what to think for this. The rest of the group flies over, wondering what just happened. That was Piccolo's power, wasn't it? And Vegeta wants to know what the hell that was. But again, they kinda have to keep this a secret from Vegeta, because he'll either try to force Mori to unlock his potential, or if he doesn't get his way, he'll probably just kill everyone here. Piccolo thinks it's a little bit unlikely, but still, the potential's there for that. So he comes up with a lie on the spot. He says he must have gotten some extra strength from Kami, and Mori showed him how to use it, or something. It's not really too much of a lie because that is kinda what happened, but it's more of an omission of the truth. And Vegeta can't believe it. He challenges Piccolo to a fight, but Piccolo says this isn't the time, or the place. Piccolo thanks Mori covertly, with Mori nervously saying that was a little bit too close. But it's good to know that he has this ability. At least for now, they can't use it on anyone else. But maybe sometime down the road. Everyone heads back to Earth, with Dende volunteering to be the new Guardian of Earth. Oh, and before they leave, they warn the Namekians of Cell, and the Namekians say they'll be fine. They doubt Cell's gonna know the location of their planet. I mean, look how long it took them to find it, and they had help from some sort of god or whatever. This trip was way more peaceful than the last one. And once they arrive back on Earth, Dende makes a new set of Dragon Balls, actually stronger than the previous set. He's glad to be here, and glad to be the next Guardian of Earth. He promises he'll try and do his best. And when they arrive back, Piccolo decides to talk with BROLY. He asks to train with BROLY, and BROLY actually turns it down. He's worried. He lost control when using his full power before, and even when he trained with Goku and Gohan, they had to hold back because they were worried about pushing him over the edge. He's still very nervous about all this, and it's not that he thinks that Piccolo can't help him, it's that he's worried that he'll accidentally kill Piccolo in the process. But Piccolo tells BROLY that's one of the first things they need to overcome, that fear of his power. And he also tells BROLY not to worry. He sensed Piccolo's power back on Namek, didn't he? He tells BROLY the whole point of this training is that he wants to control Broly's power, make him more confident in using it, and make him control his anger more. But Broly's still reluctant. It hasn't worked yet. Goku is powerful and knowledgeable, but isn't on Broly's level. Before Broly went Super Saiyan, Goku was able to help, but now, he's not able to. Vegeta's a little bit stronger than Goku, but his training methods definitely wouldn't work. Gohan also is probably stronger than Goku, but he has his own issues controlling his own power. And of course he's way less knowledgeable and experienced than Goku. Goku also seems to be preoccupied with getting Gohan to unleash his power too, with the two of them continuing to train together, thankfully because Goku actually survived the Cell Saga here. And he also mentions, his father did try to control his power, but that hasn't really been doing any favors for Broly. Otherwise, they would have figured out how to control it in the Room of Spirit in time. Broly warns Piccolo again, but Piccolo tells him he's sure it's fine. He has his own power to test as well. And besides, now they have a new set of Dragon Balls. If, in some really weird set of circumstances where Piccolo actually dies against Broly, hey, worst case, they could just bring him back with a new set of Dragon Balls. Before that wouldn't have been a possibility because if Piccolo died, the Dragon Balls would be gone. Here, they could just bring him back. But Piccolo still highly doubts that that'll even happen. Well, he reluctantly accepts, and the two of them begin their training together. A few more months pass. Vegeta continues his own training, glad to still be ahead of Goku, but knowing that Goku and Gohan are going to catch up soon. Maybe he'll have to train with them actually. But for now, he could be on his own. Meanwhile, Goku and Gohan are still training as well. Goku saw a brief glimpse of Gohan's power in the Room of Spirit in time, and he wants Gohan to tap into that and fully control it. And it shouldn't be too tough. He kind of accomplished that with Broly, and with Gohan, he's not concerned about Gohan going berserk. He just needs Gohan to unleash that power and then grasp it. It shouldn't be too tough, and he's confident that Gohan can do it. Also, Goku's expecting another kid soon, so that could be fun. Telling Gohan if he fully learns to control that power, he'll be setting a great example as an older brother. And Gohan's pretty motivated by this. Having Goku around to push his training further, having all this peacetime so he could actually study in between, and being excited to have a brother on the way, it's all pretty great. 16's reprogramming and rebuilding is finished as well. He actually becomes basically a bodyguard for Capsule Corp. But Vegeta decides he has a better use for 16. He wants to train with 16. He knows that Bulma actually did upgrade him a bit too, and his strength before was pretty intense. Also, 16's very different from the other fighters. Being an android and all too, he's probably a lot smarter. Considering he's purely mechanical, he could probably help Vegeta here, and Vegeta thinks that maybe using 16 as a training partner would be very useful. Plus, with both of them being in Capsule Corp all the time, it's pretty convenient as well. And of course, Broly's training with Piccolo is going pretty well too. They're trying to work from the ground up first, even going back to Broly's Wrathful form. This form still is pretty powerful, but Piccolo notices Broly never actually had a full control in it. He did have control and was able to use it pretty effortlessly, but he sees that one of Broly's biggest flaws here is that he moved on from this form too quickly. He probably needs to work from here up, and it's not too tough. Broly is able to control this form a little bit better at first. And this form of his, it's a lot of where his raw anger and power come from. Piccolo could see that it definitely influences his other forms. No wonder his version of Super Saiyan is different from the other Super Saiyans here. So they start working from the ground up, training with this first, and then eventually moving on to normal Super Saiyan. But even with all this time in practice, and with Broly getting to know Piccolo better, he's still too concerned about losing control. He powers up into Super Saiyan, and asks Piccolo one more time, is he actually sure that he wants him to try this out? And Piccolo says he's been waiting to test this power out. He has a safeguard against it just in case. And Broly stands back as Piccolo begins powering up, surrounded by that same orange glow that they saw in Namek. It's a blinding, flaming aura, and his power increases dramatically. As the Pillar of Ki clears, Broly looks on in awe as he sees Piccolo. Piccolo slowly walks up to Broly, confused. Why is Broly looking at him like that? He knows his power's a lot different, but it's not that confusing. And Broly's just amazed. He says he didn't know that Piccolo could transform. Transform? Piccolo has no idea what that means. He's just unleashing that power that he had before. He's never been able to transform, besides a grown giant or something. But Broly says he's definitely transformed, he could see. And Piccolo then looks down at his hands and arms, and he does look different. He's orange now. Is this the power that Mori unleashed? Something extra beyond what he thought he got? He looks at Broly pretty confused at first, but then smiles. Even better than he thought. And he tells Broly, get ready for a full-powered battle. Piccolo didn't even realize that he transformed. That explains why his power was so high and he didn't realize it. He's had this power ever since Mori unlocked his potential, but he never actually used it because he never had a chance to actually display his full power. He didn't realize he got a whole new form from it. But he tells Broly, it's just like he said before, he's confident that he could take Broly on in his full power. Especially with this transformation now, it should be very clear that he could hold his own. Broly is still concerned, but Piccolo's already given him enough reasons to go forward with it. And he reminds Broly, they won't make any progress controlling that power if Broly doesn't want to utilize that power. If not now, he's going to have to use it sometime down the line. Alright, well, Piccolo keeps saying that he wants to try it, so Broly goes for it. He transforms, going into his full power, and Piccolo tells him to unleash more power. He knows Broly's hiding it, and not only does Broly transform, but he charges up more ki, growing angrier and losing control. Broly fully charges up, launching in towards Piccolo. Piccolo surprisingly defends against one of his attacks, and he's amazed, not only at Broly's strength, but his own strength. He didn't realize he grew this strong. He saw Broly fight before, and he's only grown stronger since then, and the fact that he's able to contend with him here, it's huge. The two giants start brawling, and nearby sensing this, Vegeta flies over, wanting to watch what's going down. 16's there with him too. Since Vegeta said he could probably try and analyze the fight and learn from it, but Vegeta didn't expect anything like this. Piccolo has a new form? And the power that they're giving off, it's unfathomable. It shows Vegeta how truly far behind he is. He thought he was the top dog before, especially because Broly couldn't utilize his full power. But now, Broly's starting to learn how to use it. Even if he's at his very early stages, he knows Piccolo will probably be able to find a way. And even disregarding Broly's power, look at Piccolo. Vegeta and 16 watch on amazed as the fight continues. And Piccolo is actually able to subdue Broly eventually. Broly ends up de-transforming, but Piccolo tells him to transform again. He subdued him out of the transformation, but that's not what he wanted. He wanted to subdue him in the transformation. They're gonna have to work through this, and he tells Broly to go back into it. And as Vegeta watches, he realizes he needs to train way harder than he has been. He needs to ascend Super Saiyan somehow. And even though it might be a big blow to his pride, he knows someone who can give him some pretty valuable info about that. Goku. Now we enter a brief time skip. But even though it's a time skip, there's a lot of important events we gotta cover during this time. First of all, Goten's born finally. And there actually is kind of a change here. With Vegeta being so much more motivated to train, that rubs off on Trunks, which rubs off on Goten. But there's also something else. Goten is growing up with Goku, who's already allowing Gohan to stay motivated and keep training. So it's a much better set of circumstances for both Goten and Trunks. But more starts changing with Goku and Vegeta as well. The rivalry between them grows even further, training together alongside Gohan. Gohan's the first to unlock Super Saiyan 2. And not too long after, Goku follows, then Vegeta. And Vegeta's lead in terms of power eventually goes away, with him being around even with Goku and Gohan being above them. And Gohan's seen Broly's potential. He wonders if his as a hybrid is the same. Who knows how powerful he can get too. Both Goku and Vegeta push him further, which is pretty surprising because now Vegeta and Gohan actually have some sort of a rivalry. Not as noticeable as the one between Goku and Vegeta, but it is there. All of them are growing stronger, which is great. Even 16 gets upgraded. Vegeta asks Bulma to do this and she's glad to do so. This way he can keep up with Vegeta and the other Saiyans, and remain as a training partner so he doesn't have to train with Kakarot all the time. and he's amazed at how strong Bulma's able to make 16. But of course, that's not all that's going down. Piccolo and Broly continue training together, and eventually, Piccolo's plan works. He's able to get Broly to control his full power, no longer losing control when transforming. They did it by doing exactly what Piccolo explained in the last part. First, he had to work on completely mastering Wrathful, starting from the ground up. After that, it wasn't too hard to get Super Saiyan under control next. And now, finally, his full power form is used without anything held back, as it should be since it's his full power. Broly even tries to obtain Super Saiyan 2, but his Super Saiyan form in general is so much different than theirs that they can't really work off that. If that's something he actually does want to achieve, and if it's possible, it's going to take a bit more effort. But at least he already has a level beyond Super Saiyan, and not to mention, his Super Saiyan is already superior to the other Super Saiyan forms. So it's not like he's missing out on too much by not getting this right away. In terms of power, here's how I'd rank it. Broly would definitely be at the top. And not too far behind him, probably even equal to him, is Piccolo. Then right behind that is Gohan, who has Super Saiyan 2, followed by Goku and Vegeta, who also both have Super Saiyan 2 and are probably on equal footing right now. And another person who's equal to them is Android 16, since he's continuously upgraded to keep up with Vegeta. Then behind that, with a pretty decent margin, is Paragus, who we'll end up covering in a bit. Behind that is Goten and Trunks. And instead of Trunks being the stronger one, Goten's actually the stronger one here. But it's also worth noting that Trunks is probably considerably stronger than his normal self in canon. So I'm not making Trunks weaker, I'm just making both of them way stronger. But besides just powers, another interesting development happens. Well, a few. For one, Piccolo and Broly actually form a bond, a rivalry, a friendship. Piccolo still does train Gohan from time to time since he is still a student of his technically, but he actually spends more time with Broly too, especially since Gohan's going down a path with more training with Goku. Their bond is still there, and that's actually how Gohan gets a little bit closer to Broly, seeing his power too and making him wonder if he could do something similar. Yeah, he knows he doesn't have that weird mutant green-haired form or whatever, but he comes to see how high his potential is in comparison to Broly and wonders if he could reach that same height. And Goku's amazed to see Broly's growth as well. It's a strange, unexpected rivalry and friendship between Piccolo and Broly, but not too weird considering the same happened with Gohan. And as for Paragus, there's a reason he's so far behind the others. Besides him getting such a late start, there's also a few other things going on. He's calmed down a bit. He won't catch up to Vegeta and he's kind of accepted that. He'll never achieve his vengeance and at this point, he's not even sure if he wants it. I mean, he's grown accustomed to living here on Earth and he's tolerated Vegeta. Both Vegeta and Paragus are better people now, I guess. And as much as it pains him to admit, Paragus is too far behind the other Saiyans. He seemingly gets over his grudge, and he doesn't really give up training, but he doesn't do it as frequently. Even after unlocking Super Saiyan, he just knows that it's not really worth pursuing too much. Yeah, he is a Saiyan and likes fighting after all, but who is there to fight here? Earth is a peaceful place. This is a much different environment than what he grew up in. Being a soldier on planet Vegeta. This is a completely different lifestyle, so naturally it affects his outlook on everything as well. And another factor comes into play too. He's not too close to it yet, but he's getting close to the point where he's going to start rapidly aging. Less than a decade out actually. So that means he only really has a few years of youth left. Well, not really youth, more so his prime. And with such a peaceful place around him, he wonders if it's really best to spend these years actually holding a grudge and trying to grow stronger as a Super Saiyan, only for it to be a fruitless effort for him to be behind even further. I mean, he's glad he has the power as is. He never imagined himself as a Super Saiyan. He is surprisingly content, and instead, he wants to focus on more peaceful activities. He becomes somewhat of a normal citizen. What would he do as a job though? He probably wouldn't know either. Maybe he'd be a security guard for Caps Corp at some point because that's really all he could find at the moment. But as a hobby, he starts taking up golf, a perfect middle-aged man sport. And just like Yamcha really excelled at baseball, Paragus with his innate power might be able to really excel at golf, even though that's a much calmer sport that doesn't really rely on power too much. But still, he is naturally an advantage above everyone, so he'd be a very great golfer. Maybe even going pro, and that could be his job, a pro golfer. And he absolutely loves it. He stops training as much to fight and trains more to golf. But he still will be training from time to time. At the end of this time skip, that's one of the points where he's training. Or at least, observing training. Broly and Piccolo have another training session. This time, they just want to spar a bit. They don't need to control Broly's power any further because he already has it controlled. He still does want to pursue a form beyond Super Saiyan. And just like many times before, Paragus actually ends up watching this sparring match. Hey, even if he can't participate, it's still fun to watch. But as the two of them are fighting, they then hear Paragus screaming, and Broly's immediately alert. He looks over to where Paragus is, and Piccolo's attention is diverted there too. There's a pillar of golden ki. Why is he going Super Saiyan? Paragus then launches into the battle, now in Super Saiyan, going to attack Piccolo, and Piccolo immediately notices something's changed about him. His energy's different, but also, there's an M on his forehead. They have no clue what that is. The two of them haven't transformed fully yet, but it's not like they really need that. They just need to subdue Paragus here, figure out what's going on. Piccolo's able to get a hold of him, asking Paragus what the hell he's doing. Paragus grunts and tells Piccolo to let him go, powering up further and releasing himself from Piccolo's grasp. And he jumps back, staring down the two of them. while powering up further, and for a moment, Piccolo and Broly then sense another power nearby. And even Paragus is shocked. Someone appears behind Piccolo. Piccolo immediately feels something pierce his side, and starts feeling drained. Broly turns over. He sees a giant pink man standing there, definitely not human. Angered, he powers up into Wrathful, and he tries to attack this guy, but before he can land an attack, he disappears, being teleported away. That was of course Deborah, teleported in and out by Babidi. And Broly looks down at Piccolo. He says he's okay, but for some reason he feels weaker, like his energy just got stolen or something. What the hell's going on here? They're being attacked by someone, something, and they turn to Paragus. They ask him what the hell's happening, and he tells them to be silent for a second. Someone's coming, and this is exactly what he was promised. Promised? What? By who? Another power then flies over, with someone following behind him. It's Vegeta, and 16's following behind. And 16's attacking Vegeta. Broly looks up in awe as Vegeta gets closer and closer, and then realizes he's coming to attack Broly. Vegeta's already in Super Saiyan 2, so Broly powers up into Super Saiyan, guarding against this. Vegeta has that same M on his forehead, and 16 then lands nearby. He says something's wrong with Vegeta, and then notices the same's wrong with Paragus. Piccolo notes something's changed about both their keys. And 16 can't necessarily analyze what's going on, but he's getting weird readings from the both of them. Vegeta declares he's here to finally fight Broly, and then Paragus says that's not going to happen. He's going to fight Vegeta. Both of them were possessed by Babidi, with Paragus being given more strength so he could fight Vegeta, and Vegeta being given more strength so he could fight Broly. Babidi was able to exploit both of them. Even though their grudges were both seemingly gone, they still were there, both buried deep down. Broly tells 16 to get Piccolo out of there. 16 says he's going to need help, but Broly says he'll be fine. He's sure about it, because not too long after, they sense somebody else coming in. This time it's actually allies though, Goku and Gohan. They sense a battle going on. At first they thought people were just sparring, but it felt a little bit more serious than that, especially because Vegeta eventually came over too. And they sense powers coming in and out, with Piccolo's then disappearing. They're concerned, asking what the hell's going on. Broly says even if he had time to explain, he couldn't really tell them what's happening. He just says he'll need their help here. Majin Paragus and Majin Vegeta stand together, and the two almost fight each other actually, because Paragus does want to fight Vegeta. But then they turn over to Goku, their attention's diverted. Paragus knows he can't win, and now he has an idea. This was also another one of his targets, and another one of Vegeta's targets too. Someone else who they could prove their superiority over. They both have somewhat of a grudge against Goku, especially here because he's getting in the way of their battles. Well, that's fine. They'll get rid of Goku together, the enemy of my enemy, and then after that, they could duel with whoever they want. He's just going to be annoying here, same for Gohan. Goku and Gohan have no clue what they're talking about, but they power up into Super Saiyan 2, with Broly also powering up. He says he'll only use a fraction of his power for this. He's grown powerful and doesn't need to use his full strength. And they definitely will be able to stop this. The 5 Saiyans all charge up, getting ready for a battle, but just before that happens, Paragus lunges in, about to punch Goku, but then someone stops him. It's a shorter guy that teleported in, and he's barely able to block the attack, almost being overpowered by Paragus. And everyone stops in their tracks. It's Shin and Kibito, and no one has any clue of who these guys are. They're completely confused. Paragus tries to fight the two guys, telling them to get out of their way, with Vegeta even aiming a blast at Shin ready to kill him. Broly then knocks Vegeta away, protecting those two, and then asking who the hell they are. He wants to know too. Shin tells everyone to stop now. They're falling right into Babidi's plan. It seems he definitely coordinated this. I mean, there's 2 Majin servants here, and he attacked without any sort of warning. They didn't expect him to attack so soon, but it makes sense with how strong everyone is here. Not to mention, they saw Piccolo being taken away by 16, so someone already had their energy drained. Vegeta and Paragus tell them to shut up, but before they can attack, Goku, Gohan, and Broly defend the two guys. Wait, who's this Babidi guy, and what kind of plan does he have? They're concerned now, but the Kai say just to stop fighting. They can't give any more energy. Wait, what? They try to explain as quickly as possible. Babidi is gathering energy to awaken an ancient evil. That's why Piccolo's energy was stolen, and that's why they're getting everyone to fight here. He gave Paragus and Vegeta more power, exploiting their darkest thoughts and grudges, using it to turn them against their own friends. But it might already be too late. Far away, they sense an ominous energy. It can't be that quick. Did this group really have that much energy to steal? They didn't even really start fighting yet. But Shin looks around him. All of them are fully powered up besides Broly. And even then, without his full power, he's still giving off a huge amount of energy. Back at Babidi's ship, he's elated, seeing the amount of energy that Piccolo had. This is way more than he expected. It gives him over half the energy he needed, and then some. That was just from Piccolo alone, from having everybody else power up and fight. Even briefly, he was able to gather even more energy, but he sees the fight has stopped. Oh, the Supreme Kai is here. Thankfully, he's able to easily coax Vegeta and Paragus into fighting a little bit more, just to get a little bit extra energy. The others are able to stop Vegeta and Paragus, but they continue fighting, and it's already too late. The ominous ki grows even stronger, and eventually, Shin realizes it's the worst case scenario. Change of plans. Continue fighting. Wait, what? He just said don't give off any energy. It's no use now. Shin tells them it's too late. Majin Buu is awakening, and they're going to need all the power they can get. They need to stop Vegeta and Paragus, and then they're going to have to go in and fight Buu. unless they want the Earth and everything else to be destroyed. Piccolo's retreated with 16, but Kibito flies over to him, telling him to come back with the others as he then heals Piccolo. Piccolo wants some answers as to what's going on, and Kibito says he'll get them soon enough. That energy grows even stronger. As far away, back at Babidi's ship, he's laughing maniacally. He and Deborah watch on with delight. It's finally happened. They already got the energy they needed. That was really quick. A giant plume of smoke shoots up as Buu then hatches from his egg. The Majin has finally been reawoken. Vegeta and Paragus stand there, sensing Buu, unsure of what the hell just awakened. But the two of them are still not in the right state of mind, especially Paragus, who's more so under the control of Babidi than Vegeta. Vegeta still has some sort of sense of himself. Paragus, he's actually a little bit easier for Babidi to manipulate. And Babidi still wants to create some discourse amongst everybody. The two are still fueled by their anger, and he could utilize that. Paragus is sent to fight BROLY, but part of him also wants to fight Vegeta, finally face him and prove his superiority. He kinda resists Babidi, but still ends up fighting part of the group, aiming for Vegeta instead. Vegeta laughs at this. He doesn't care what kind of evil was just awoken because he'll defeat it easily. And as for Paragus, if he wants to fight, then so be it. He even lets Paragus have one free attack, keeping an opening for him. Paragus charges up all his power, coalescing all the ki in his fist that he can gather. He jumps in at Vegeta with a full power attack, hitting him right in the face. Vegeta briefly stumbles back a bit, and then stands up straight again, cracking his neck. That was really all the power he got? That's disappointing. And with one attack, Vegeta knocks Paragus out. He turns back to the group. Don't even think about fighting that monster. Well, the others can. For now, he wants to finish his battle with BROLY. Piccolo's actually kinda glad that Paragus is out of the way, and Shin and Kibito say it's good, especially with him unconscious. They can try and reverse that spell. It might be a bit tough though, especially with Vegeta in the way, because he immediately starts trying to fight BROLY, and BROLY tries to get Vegeta to stop. They need to focus at the threat on hand, but Vegeta says the others can handle it. They're definitely strong enough. For now, he needs to face BROLY. He wants to utilize his power while he has it, and they realize Vegeta willingly got possessed. He got that power just to fight BROLY, and Goku for that matter. BROLY lashes out at Vegeta, calling him an idiot for doing that. Does he realize what he did? He probably screwed them all. They don't know how strong Buu is. All for a selfish battle against BROLY, just to satisfy his pride. And Vegeta just laughs at this. He didn't realize that Meathead could be so well articulated. But Vegeta doesn't care about anything that he says. They're fighting here and now, and then he'll go after Kakarot. Goku notices BROLY starting to get enraged. Rightfully so, actually. Goku tries to get BROLY to calm down, but Piccolo says no. This is actually good. Broly's gonna need to utilize his full power against Majin Buu, and if he uses it here against Vegeta, they'll definitely be able to get Vegeta out of the way. Plus, this is a perfect test for him. Even under the circumstances, it would be great for him to actually utilize his rage. Piccolo has fought with BROLY before, sparring a bunch with him and practicing this form, but Broly's never actually faced true stakes yet with it. Well, besides that one time he fought Cell. This is the first time he could utilize it controlled while also facing real stakes, instead of just sparring with Piccolo. And Broly hears these words of encouragement from Piccolo, and he does still feel enraged, but this gets him to realize he has this. He can do this. It doesn't matter if he utilizes his full power. He has control over it now. He simmers down a bit, taking a deep breath and then looking over at Piccolo and Goku, and then says something to Goku. He says he's in his right mind. Goku doesn't need to worry about him. They trained for this after all, and this will be a perfect test of what he's trained for. Quickly, he turns back to Vegeta, instantly coated by a fierce green orb. He bulks up considerably, his hair turns green, and within an instant, he goes into his full power. He'll stop Vegeta, and then the Kais could fix him. And he looks back over at the others, Goku, Gohan, and Piccolo. They need to go fight Buu. They can handle him alone probably. And if not, it doesn't matter. BROLY will make this quick. He'll come to their aid soon enough. They need to subdue Vegeta first. He's just gonna get in the way. And if he really wants to satisfy this grudge, BROLY will end the battle quickly. Shin and Kibito really do want BROLY with them, but they see what he's going for. Vegeta's definitely gonna be an annoyance if they don't stop him here. And after that, the Kais will be able to restore Vegeta, reversing the spell. 16's not sure if he'll be any help against Buu, but he wants to help BROLY here, just to ensure he's fine. BROLY wants to fight Vegeta alone, but 16 needs to make sure everything's fine. Besides, he actually knows Vegeta better than anyone, so he could assist here. Babidi, Buu, and Deborah are waiting around. Well, at first, Deborah ends up fighting Buu, being easily defeated. And by the time that battle's over, Goku, Gohan, and Piccolo arrive, seeing this threat that they're supposed to face. His power does seem incredible, and they realize they probably really do need BROLY here. But for the time being, they might be able to work around this, hold Buu off somehow. They only need to hold him off for a bit until BROLY gets here, and Babidi's pleased to see them, sicking Buu on the three of them. Buu happily jumps in, and the three all prepare. Goku and Gohan go Super Saiyan 2, Piccolo goes into Orange. And they actually feel a lot more confident now. Once they actually fight Buu together, they see that collectively they might actually overpower him. If they can strike him simultaneously with a full power attack, they might be able to eliminate him. But they do need to make it quick. Of course, if they fight too long, they're going to get drained from this, and individually, they still are weak. If Buu can somehow separate them, that's going to be a problem. But with the three of them together, they'll be fine. The three of them have a clear advantage against Buu, and Babidi could see that. While Buu might not be able to think about this for himself, Babidi realized that he could be a good strategist here, helping Buu along the way. The three are able to quickly figure out that Buu can regenerate as well, Once they hit him with a combined attack, they see that he just regenerates from it, surprising them, but not too big of a deal. That shows that they really just need to follow through with their attacks. Erase every little bit of him so he can't regenerate. That shouldn't be too tough. They already got one good hit on him. They just need one more opening, but Babidi starts communicating with Buu mentally. He tells Buu he needs to split the group up somehow. He needs to just get one of them gone. Don't focus on fighting all three at once. Focus on fighting one. Something to destabilize the group. Piccolo, that might be a bit tough. Goku, well yeah, if they got rid of him that would help, but he's the weakest of the three right here. And Babidi decides it might be best to target Gohan, who's right in the middle. Not the strongest of the three, but not the weakest. That'll definitely throw them off course. Babidi tries using all its power to paralyze two of them, Piccolo and Goku. Quickly they're able to break free, but just as they do, Buu then wraps parts of him around them. Babidi just created an opening. Buu then reaches his hand out, stretching it, grabbing Gohan by the leg. He retracts his arm, slamming Gohan into the ground, throwing him back and forth. As Goku and Piccolo break free from Buu's restraints, Buu then holds on to Gohan tight, launching high up into the sky. He spins around midair, then pummeling back down towards Earth. He lets go of Gohan, moving faster than him. And before Gohan hits the surface, Buu meets him there, with an evil grin on his face as he launches a full power blast, sending Gohan upwards once more. He holds nothing back with this. Gohan is launched far away, with Goku and Piccolo attacking just as Buu finishes his attack. But they stop. They try and sense Gohan. They can't feel his energy anymore. Did Buu just kill him? That quickly? Babidi's there laughing. Perfect. Now Buu just needs to fight these two. It shouldn't be too hard to get rid of Goku, and then he can go after Piccolo. It still might be tough with the two of them together, but Buu at least has closed the gap significantly here, or at least, so they think. Enraged, Piccolo rushes in. With that rage fueling him, he holds nothing back with his attacks. He's going to destroy Buu here and now. He bulks himself up a little bit, not going completely giant, but growing larger in size, just so he can manhandle Buu easier. And it's not like he gets a power increase from this, but somebody else does. Piccolo acts as a good distraction, because unbeknownst to him, something's changed within Goku. He tries sensing for Gohan anywhere, but he can't feel his energy. He's in denial. He can't be dead, can he? And for the first time in a while, Goku snaps. His aura flares up even further. He has memories of Krillin dying on Namek, and all the other times his friends were killed. He never thought this would come, a day where Gohan would be the one to die, and it sends him over the edge. A massive crater forms nearby, distracting Buu, Babidi, and Piccolo. And from the golden aura, Goku launches out, looking much different than before. With immense speed, he flies right towards Buu, punching right through him. Then turning around after he flies through him, launching a massive blast. He yells over at Piccolo, now's their chance. And Piccolo gets a glimpse of Goku. His hair, it's longer. He's lost his eyebrows. He's transformed again. Goku doesn't even realize. Blinded by the rage, he transformed into Super Saiyan 3. But there's a huge drawback with this. He doesn't know how to use Super Saiyan 3. He's already a little bit worn out from the fight too. And now, he has this form that he doesn't know how to utilize. One that's inherently bad with stamina, especially if you don't know how to use it. But that doesn't matter to Goku. He's going to utilize his full power. Here and now, they're killing Buu. Quickly, Buu regenerates from Goku's attack. And just as he does so, he receives another punch from Piccolo. The two of them fight Buu as a tag team, and he's being pushed back significantly. And Babidi watches on. What is he supposed to do now? But he actually has an idea. There might be one way to increase his powers. Nearby, Babidi looks on the ground. He sees Dabura in cookie form, and he looks into Buu. He needs to awaken that evil inside him, get him better control, and give him that power from Dabura. It's risky, but it could work. Buu's definitely not going to turn down a treat like that too. He got interrupted before he could even eat Dabura. And Babidi performs a spell on Buu, awakening the evil inside him. Amidst the fight, Buu then begins to split. Goku and Piccolo stand back, thinking he's about to self-destruct or something, but no, he just splits into two Buus. With Babidi drawing out the latent evil side, he needs that evil to take control of Buu. And thus, evil Buu is born. Piccolo looks over at Goku. Great, now there's two of them. And Goku's breathing heavily. Piccolo notices this too. What's wrong? And Goku says he doesn't know. He just realized that he unlocked this new power, but he can't control it well. He's feeling way more drained than he's ever felt with Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan 2. This is a double-edged sword. This is bad. The only good thing is the two Buus aren't equal in power. It's not like they're fighting two Buus now. They're just fighting two halves of Buu. Evil Buu then looks over at the two of them, launching a candy beam at both. Quickly, they're able to get out of the way, and Babidi then throws the Dabura cookie. Both Buus look up, and Evil Buu stretches out his arm, grabbing it and eating it as quick as possible. He's open here to their attacks, so he needs to make this quick. Under the orders of Babidi, Evil Buu doesn't even try to fight good Buu. He just immediately tries to turn him into candy. And powered by Dabura's energy, he then launches another candy beam, right at good Buu. Goku and Piccolo launch back over, but it's already too late. Before they could even attack, Evil Buu eats good Buu. The two land a punch together, but the second their fists connect, Evil Buu powers up, transforming into Super Buu. They're flung back as Buu powers up. And this isn't even normal Super Buu. He's wearing Dabura's clothing. This isn't Super Buu. This is Super Buu with Dabura's power, Dabura. And Babidi's nearby, laughing, elated at all this. And Buu looks over. He smiles. With Dabura in him, he's a lot more intelligent now. And he recognizes he shouldn't be under Babidi's control. Why not take Babidi's power for himself too, alongside Dabura's? He looks over at Babidi, thanking him, as Babidi's then telekinetically lifted in the air, with Buu stretching his arm out, and as his hand connects with Babidi, it wraps around him as Buu absorbs him too. He doesn't change in appearance from this, but he does grow slightly stronger, and gains all of Babidi's magical prowess. This all happens so quick, Goku and Piccolo don't realize how this occurred, and Buu looks over at them. Now, why not continue this battle once more? Goku and Piccolo are heavily concerned, but then they sense another power nearby. While all of this was going on, of course, Broly's battle with Vegeta continued, and Broly did have a clear advantage, but he did need to hold back a bit here. He didn't want to accidentally kill Vegeta or anything, just defeat him, knock him unconscious. But it's way easier said than done. With the Majin power-up, Vegeta is actually way stronger than Broly could have expected, but still not on his level, and he's incredibly resilient. Even when faced with Broly's power, he didn't back down. Every time Broly was able to knock him down, Vegeta just kept getting back up, wanting to fight to the end. He said this battle will only be over when one of them is knocked unconscious. And he tells Broly it's not going to be that easy, but Broly does want to end this quickly. He needs to get over and help them. He can sense a lot going down there and he's not sure what's happening. And for a very brief moment, he does actually enjoy the battle. His Saiyan blood, it fuels him. He's actually liking the fight, enjoying it. But Shin and Kibito are there. They try and remind Broly they need to finish this as quick as possible. He can't falter like that anymore, and Broly acknowledges this. He starts taking it way more seriously, and so does Vegeta. But I don't think I need to tell you, Broly wins here, and immediately heads over to where Buu is. It's Broly. He rushes over as quick as possible, with the Kais following behind him, carrying Paragus and Vegeta, both unconscious. He lands with a shockwave, and looks around. He asks where Gohan is, and Piccolo tells Broly not to lose control, but Gohan might be dead. And then he looks over at Goku, seeing him looking completely different. Goku says he just needs to hold his form for a little bit longer, and he looks over at Broly and lifts a fist up. Now it's time to finish this. He's glad to see Broly here, and for the first time since this battle began, Goku looks a bit more relieved. He's more optimistic now, and Broly silently nods. And Buu smiles. This is interesting. But now, they shouldn't underestimate him. I mean, look at him now. He's way stronger. He's way smarter. He's a much greater warrior than that other Buu. This battle will not end too well for them. He sticks a hand out, and then launches a bunch of pieces of himself at the group. And then he sticks another hand out, launching a ki blast from it. The group's able to easily defend against this, destroying all the little bits of Buu that he launches at them. Why is he doing that? But Piccolo realizes. It's to absorb them, just like he did with the others. Whatever they do, they can't let those pieces of Buu touch them. But Goku falls to his knees. His hair shrinks, turning back to normal as it then goes black. He's back in his base. He apologizes. He doesn't know what happened, what that form was. He doesn't know why it was so draining. He needs a little more energy, and he tries to power up, trying to go into Super Saiyan 2, but he can't even do that. He goes into Super Saiyan at least. And even though Goku got that temporary boost from Super Saiyan 3, it actually was a double-edged sword like he thought, draining more power than it gave him, just when they thought the tides were turning. And Buu sees an opportunity. He splits himself into two, with one Buu being significantly weaker. That Buu rushes over to Goku, just to hold him back, while the main Buu fights Piccolo and Broly. Of course, Piccolo and Broly try to defend Goku, but whenever they turn their attention away, the main Buu attacks, paralyzing both of them with magic, with the weaker Buu doing the same thing to Goku. He launches rapid-fire candy beams at them. They don't even try to counter them, they just have to dodge them here. They don't want to risk hitting them. The main Buu's trying to distract them. The other Buu begins fighting Goku, and Goku can't do anything against him. He's too drained, too weakened here. And Buu then splits a few more pieces of himself off, trying to throw them at Piccolo and Broly. The weaker Buu then wraps himself around Goku. Goku tries all he can to power up, and briefly, he does go into Super Saiyan 2, breaking free for a little bit, until Buu holds him once more. And then he looks up at the other Buu. There's a piece of Buu around Piccolo's leg, and he doesn't even realize just yet. Buu could lose here, but if he plays his cards right, he can win. Quickly, the other Buu wraps himself around Piccolo, holding him still. Piccolo tries to break free, and Broly wants to attack, but he can't. He's holding Piccolo hostage. He doesn't want to hurt Piccolo too. But Piccolo tells Broly, just do it, attack him. If he dies, it doesn't matter. They can't let Buu get his power. But Broly hears Shin and Kibito in his head, and he looks around. They're gone. Vegeta and Paragus are too. Shin says not to stay around there any longer. Buu's gonna absorb his power too. Broly's not sure what to do. He's panicked here. He wants to fight, and Piccolo's telling him just to do it. But even if he stays and tries to destroy Piccolo and Buu, it's not gonna work, because Buu's already got Goku as well. But Piccolo hears the Kais too, and he struggles, but tells Broly change of plans. Listen to them. It's the last thing Piccolo says before he's fully absorbed by Buu, with Goku also being absorbed too at the same time. Shin then teleports behind Broly, with a hand stretched out. Alongside Shin is Android 16, trying to convince Broly to leave right now. Broly's feeling rage, concern. He feels like he's about to snap. He hasn't felt like this in so long. The anxiety he's feeling. And Shin can see he's about to do something rash, controlled by his anger. So instead, he jumps in towards Broly, grabbing him and teleporting him away to the sacred world of Kais. And before the absorption completes, they then hear another voice in their heads, transmitted by Shin and Kibito. And suddenly, both of them feel completely relieved. Goku immediately recognized the voice. It's Gohan. And under his breath, he tells Gohan and Broly to finish this. Broly arrives on the sacred world of Kais, seeing Vegeta, Paragus, and Gohan there. Gohan wasn't killed by Buu. He barely survived, and Shin was able to find him, spending that time during the battle doing that. Thankfully, they were able to heal him, and now they're healing Vegeta and Paragus too. All hope might not be lost, they still have some warriors here. But meanwhile, back on Earth, Buu's absorption of Piccolo and Goku completes. Piccolo even tries to self-destruct, but it doesn't work. Before he could do so, Buu overpowers him, and a new Buu is born. With Piccolo and Goku being the strongest people within him, his outfit changes to reflect that. This is Piccolo. Let's rewind a bit. Thankfully for him, Gohan was found by the Kais, taken to the sacred world and being healed there. And immediately, he wants to prepare. He's angered. He needs to grow quickly. He needs to find some way to get more power to defeat Buu somehow. Especially since he's here now, and the Kais have advised him, don't go back, it's too dangerous. He wants to go back and help, but he knows that maybe it's better to stay here, try and gain more power, a surefire way to defeat Majin Buu. This is when he's directed to the Z-Sword by Shin, and not too long after, he's able to pull it from the stone, being able to use it for training. And he's using it pretty fiercely, trying to get the hang of it as quickly as possible. The Kais leave him alone as they go back to Earth to get everyone to retreat, while Gohan continues practicing with the sword, and inadvertently, he breaks it, using some blocks of Kachian that Shin left around for him to train with. Not realizing that it would end up breaking the sword, this releases Elder Kai from it, and as the Kais return with everyone else, they're amazed. Everyone's glad to find out that Gohan's alive, but more importantly, Shin is terrified at the idea that the Z-Sword broke. Kibito has no idea of what to think either, but then they see another Kai standing there, introducing himself as Elder Kai. This brings us to where we are now. BROLY is on the planet, as well as all the other survivors, and Gohan's there with Elder Kai, who offered to do some sort of ritual on him to unlock his power. It seems like a surefire way to defeat Buu, so he wants to go for it. Meanwhile, Vegeta and Paragus are starting to be restored, with BROLY being healed too, although his power is so immense that it's hard to fully heal him. Vegeta regains consciousness and is now his normal self again, same for Paragus, and Vegeta actually surprisingly apologizes. Turning over to BROLY, he should have realized, even with this great power he got from being possessed, it still wouldn't have been enough to defeat BROLY, no way. And it just caused more issues if anything, and BROLY's disappointed still, but he's glad to see Vegeta acknowledges it. As for Paragus, he swears he was unwillingly possessed. Maybe part of him would have accepted it either way, but unlike Vegeta, he was a bit more easy to get control of. Gohan sits around while Elder Kai dances around him, and the 4 other fighters watch on, just confused as to what's even happening, and Shin walks over to them. They need to make some sort of plan. 16 pitches in. He's unsure of what they could even do here, and he wants to get help too. It's probably just like Cell, he won't be able to be absorbed. And this makes everyone worry even more because he brought up Cell and they completely forgot about him. Crap, he's still out there. But he's not the concern right now. 16 continues, saying that Buu won't be able to absorb him, although even with the upgrades he's received, this still might be beyond his capabilities. Bulma has continuously upgraded him, mainly at the request of Vegeta, and now he even has the ability to regenerate a bit, having nanotech within him that allows him to rebuild himself and learn from injuries. Think of it like Metal Cooler, but way less intense. He thinks that he could act as a decoy, trying to use it as a way to gather some data on Buu, and help hold him off if needed. He'll act as the main target, while the others try and formulate a way to actually defeat Buu. The thing is though, they can't go back right now. Gohan still has the ritual being done, and this is gonna take a while. That's their predicament. They can't really waste too much more time here, but they kind of need to. But BROLY says they should go back without Gohan. Let him stay here. He'll be the backup. And they wonder why he's so confident in it. Well, he's seen what potential awakenings can do to people. He saw how much it affected Piccolo, and he can only imagine how much it'll affect Gohan. Granted, this is a different method for having his potential unlocked, but knowing Gohan's immense latent strength, he's sure that whatever power he's granted, it will be enough to defeat Buu, even if they're somehow defeated. But even if not, they still have a good chance of at least holding Buu off. BROLY with his full power, Vegeta now returned to normal, 16 there, and Paragus has a little bit of extra strength. He keeps Piccolo's words in mind. Piccolo told him to hold back his anger. He has to take control over it and not let it overtake him. He knows how to use the full power form by now, but this is the first time he's using it in an actual battle, one where he actually encounters real anger, real rage at somebody's death. But Vegeta chimes in. He tells BROLY not to do that. Listen to his Saiyan instincts. He gets more power from anger. Who cares if he goes berserk? What they need to do now is defeat Buu. Then they'll worry about that. But BROLY says he can't. If he goes berserk, everyone dies even if they manage to defeat Buu. But Vegeta tells him he's already gained control over it twice. He's learned to harness that anger. Even if he doesn't feel like it, he's a Saiyan. He can overcome anything. And even if he does go berserk, BROLY could probably still regain control. And Paragus surprisingly agrees with Vegeta. He's seen BROLY's power. He knows BROLY can overcome this. Sure, it's not going to be easy, but they did it once when he first acted as Super Saiyan. And then he did it again training with Piccolo. Hell, he did it with Wrathful too. Even if this is the first time he's using the full power form in the real world, he'll find a way to make it work here. The group waits around a bit, trying to buy as much time as possible. They watch Buu. At some point they are going to have to head back, but they don't need to head back immediately. Buu goes around wreaking havoc, and it's tough for them to watch. But they don't really have a choice. If they go too early, Gohan's never going to be able to come in during the battle. But if they wait too long, then there won't be anything to save. If he destroys cities and kills people, that's one thing. They could bring those back. But if he destroys Earth completely, well, that's another issue. But wait, that reminds them. Gohan tells them, go to Earth, get Dende. Make sure the Dragon Balls can't be destroyed. No one else even realized that. Shin says it's good thinking. He immediately teleports to Earth, coming back with Dende too. Dende's glad to be away from there, and he actually has some great news. He's gathered some of the Dragon Balls. It was dangerous with all the battles going on, but he was able to get some of them. This is even better, so if Earth is destroyed, they can restore it. But there's still some Dragon Balls on Earth. They don't have all of them. Then they got these as a precaution, and it's too dangerous to go back now and search for more. They wait around a little longer, seeing what Buu will do. He continuously destroys things, angering the group even further, but they have to wait. They need to time this perfectly. Best case, they can head back with Gohan. Worst case, they'll have to head back a little bit before he gets his power awakened. But it looks like they can't wait that long. Buu is getting impatient, destroying cities at a more rapid pace, turning everybody into candy and enjoying it. And also Gohan is worried about some of the others. People have already been revived by the Dragon Balls, and who might be killed by Buu. Even with Earth's Dragon Balls here, they might not be able to revive everybody. Things are just getting worse the more they think about it. But then Vegeta takes charge. No more waiting. They're gonna stop that monster. It doesn't matter if Gohan's there with them or not. And he tells Shit, take them there. The others agree, and Paragus even jumps in too, saying he'll search for the Dragon Balls. His strength might not be enough to contend with Buu, but he can at least do that. Get the last remaining two, and bring them back here for Dende just in case. They all go to Earth, and just like Vegeta said, right away, BROLY decides to unleash his full power. They head into battle flying towards Buu, with BROLY charging up energy as he goes along. And Vegeta looks at BROLY, telling him to remember what he said before. BROLY's still a little bit hesitant, but he decides to go with it anyways. They meet up with Buu, who's glad to see them, surprised that Vegeta's still around, no longer possessed, and BROLY's back, healed too. This'll make things fun, and Buu taunts BROLY. He'll make this even worse for him. He'll defeat BROLY using the power of his two masters, two of his closest friends, Goku and Piccolo, and BROLY's glad that he's trying to make him angry. This allows him to unleash more power, transforming with a furious aura as he unleashes his full strength, nothing held back. Immediately losing control, but still having sights on Buu. Vegeta charges into Super Saiyan 2, with 16 getting ready to battle as well. A 3v1 ensues, as Paragus hunts for the Dragon Balls, and Gohan waits on the Sacred World of Kai's. They keep him updated with it too, and Gohan's getting impatient. It hasn't been a full day yet, but even then, Elder Kai's not sure if that'll unlock his full potential. He might need even more time, but Gohan's getting even more worried. He remembers too, Vegeta's one of the people that's already been revived by Earth's Dragon Balls. They can't let him die again. Sure, they can go to Namek, but who knows if a Namek will be around by the time they even try to do that. If Buu somehow wins there, destroying Earth, who's to say he won't go to Namek next, destroying the Dragon Balls there? He definitely has knowledge of it, and he could go there. Elder Kai tells him to be a little bit more patient, but he does have a backup plan just in case. The battle on Earth continues. Goku is far too strong for everybody. Even with BROLY's full power unleashed, and the other two fighters there helping him, he's still having such a tough time against Buu. But surprisingly, he's not fully berserk. He has some sort of control, he's not attacking his allies. It's just, he's not fighting with 100% precision. And Vegeta keeps trying to talk to BROLY, trying to get him to fully harness it once more. Let that anger fuel him, use it. But at the same time, remember, if he doesn't utilize it properly, everyone's dead here, including his father, his friends, his masters. It's all resting on him, and BROLY could hear Vegeta through this. It does serve to make him a bit angry, causing him to grow a little bit more, but he's also trying to restrain himself, trying to focus more of that power. But Buu keeps taunting him. It's no use. No matter what they do, it won't work. Remember, he has all of Goku and Piccolo's knowledge too. He knows BROLY's not going to be able to harness that, unleashing that full strength in an actual battle. He hasn't done that before. He's trying to discourage BROLY, but Vegeta tells him not to listen. Back on the Sacred World of Kai's, Shin teleports back in with Paragus. He found them, the last two Dragon Balls. He gives them to Dende, and then Gohan stands up, quickly turning over to Shin. Elder Kai tells him the ritual's not finished, but Gohan says it doesn't matter. He has enough power now. He can feel it. And Elder Kai told him about his backup plan too. He'll use that. He wants to go back to Earth now and help. And Shin asks Gohan if he's really sure. He is. A new fighter enters the battle, Ultimate Gohan. And this does help turn the tide a bit, but Gohan arrives at a bad time. His friends are losing. They're beaten up badly. 16's regeneration only goes so far, but thankfully his infinite energy allows him to keep fighting. For Vegeta and BROLY though, the same can't be said. Vegeta's on his last legs. He can barely stand anymore. This guy is too powerful. But as Gohan enters the battlefield, he sees Vegeta being held up by Buu, using it to taunt BROLY. Vegeta senses Gohan's power, turning back around and smiling. He tells Buu, it's over for him now. Gohan launches in, getting a direct hit on Buu. And BROLY sees him, regaining some control seeing Gohan. He has to utilize what Piccolo and Vegeta were saying. Both pieces of advice could help, but Buu says it doesn't matter how many fighters they have. It doesn't matter how much stronger Gohan is. They're not going to win here. He knocks BROLY and Gohan back, still holding Vegeta up too. Vegeta is able to free himself, kicking Buu right in the chin, with 16 standing beside him. BROLY stands up, with Gohan getting up next to him too. He'd love to use this power to try and defeat Buu himself, but he knows he can't. It's too risky. He turns to BROLY. He needs BROLY to trust him on this one. He holds out a hand, and in it is an earring. BROLY slowly simmers down. His eyes return to normal, and he looks at Gohan confused. What is this? Gohan says he doesn't have much time to explain, but he attempts to. Vegeta sees them talking back there, and realizes that he might need to buy them some time. He won't back down here against Buu. He and 16 will act as a perfect distraction. and Buu taunts them. What, are those other two giving up? And Vegeta says he has no clue what they're doing, but they're definitely not giving up. There's a bright flash of light behind them, with Buu looking on amazed, and Vegeta too, sensing this power. 16 can detect it. That's strength. It's neither Gohan or Broly. Vegeta's jaw drops, but his face turns to a grin once more. Looking over at Buu, seeing the terror on his face, he tells Buu, it's over now. He has no clue of what they did, but he's still confident that it'll work. Buu suddenly vanishes from sight with a shockwave. Somebody moved over there and hit him so fast that they couldn't even see it. But now they see him. A new fighter standing over there. 16 and Vegeta hear two voices, asking if they're okay. And Vegeta doesn't even know what to think. He senses their two powers together. Who is this? What is this? The man looks over at Vegeta and smiles, saying Gohan and Broly have joined forces, combining their two powers together, possibly permanently. They're not worried. They could probably reverse it later somehow with the Dragon Balls. But they saw this as the only way to defeat Buu. This is a brand new fighter, one who refers to himself as Brohan, the fusion of Broly and Gohan. And yes, I get how funny that name sounds, which just makes it even better. Buu launches back in, furious. Brohan simply cocks a fist back, launching it right at Buu's face, completely tearing his head clean off. The severed head of Buu launches a beam at Brohan, with him grabbing it, throwing it right back at him, destroying Buu's head. A new head regenerates on the body. He stretches an arm out trying to grab Brohan, but he grabs Buu's arm, slamming him to the side, then throwing him up in the air, and Buu can't even register Brohan's movements. He immediately meets Buu up in the sky, ascending upwards just as quickly as him. Buu stretches himself out acting as a parachute, as Brohan glares upwards. He then powers up, surrounded by a fierce white aura. This is Ultimate Broly, summoning all the latent potential of Gohan and of Broly, significantly multiplied by the fusion, of course. But Brohan is still unsure. What is he supposed to do here? He can't just flat out kill Buu, because then he'll be killing Goku and Piccolo, who can't be revived again. They do have Namek's Dragon Balls, but still, they don't like the idea of just killing those two. But Piccolo did kind of want Broly to do it, even as much as it pains them to do so. But they then hear a voice in their heads. It's Dende. He tells them they have a new plan. Kill Buu here and now. Don't hesitate. They'll use Namek's Dragon Balls to bring everyone back. But Dende still knows a way to help with Earth's Dragon Balls. He makes a wish from Shenron, asking him to restore all the fighters on Earth. Vegeta suddenly feels rejuvenated. So does Broly, with 16 being fully repaired as well. And Paragus watches on from the Sacred World of Kais as this all happens, and chuckles. They're all such amazing fighters. He can never hope to reach that level, but he knows Earth is in safe hands. And Brohan hears another voice yelling in his head. It's Paragus, talking to both Broly and Gohan. He tells them the two have the power to finish this. Do it now. If anyone can accomplish it, it's these two, especially fused together. Buu looks on in fear as Brohan begins powering up even more, not holding anything back. Under his breath, he apologizes, saying sorry to Goku and Piccolo, but he'll see them soon. He cups his hands together. A greenish aura swirls around it. But Buu's not just going to stand there letting him attack. He begins charging an attack of his own, but as he does so, a couple rings of energy form around him, made by Vegeta and 16 below, utilizing all their returned power to try and restrain Buu. And Brohan smiles, thanking them. His eyes morph, turning to a fierce yellow color like Broly's. Buu's able to break free from the restraints, but it's already too late. A massively powerful Kamehameha hits him head on, disintegrating every little last bit of him. They can't waste any more time here, especially with the advantage they've just been given. And Brohan powers down, glad to have won here. He lands back down on the surface of the planet, meeting up with 16 and Vegeta again. And Vegeta can't believe what he just witnessed, that strength they had. And he asked, how are they supposed to defuse now? Well, that's the thing. It's permanent. They can't. They were hoping to use the Dragon Balls for that, which maybe they still can. But suddenly, they then defuse, surprisingly. Not realizing that they just used up a bunch of power and that ran down the fusion. They just assumed that Dende used the Dragon Balls, but apparently he didn't. Dende says they just defused on their own. Weird. Elder Kai never mentioned anything about that. And they wonder why Dende was so confident in this plan all of a sudden. Well, he got in contact with Namek, and they said they'd be glad to help here. Porunga was upgraded before, and he could actually be used to revive everybody all at once, which they kinda were gonna need to do anyways. Thankfully, Porunga could actually bring back people multiple times. And thankfully, the damage is restored. Everyone's brought back too. And thanks to Broly as well as Gohan, they successfully defeated Buu, with Goku and Piccolo proud of the both of them, and Vegeta even acknowledging the great strength that Broly has. It seems everyone came out of this with a pretty good experience, although there is going to be a consequence of this, that immense power that Brohan unleashed. It was enough to disturb someone's nap. It was sensed all across the universe, causing a premonition of sorts for somebody. Far away, on Beerus' planet, he awakens. Although a bit groggy, trying to fall back asleep, but realizing he's not going to be able to get back into this nap. And he's a little bit pissed off that someone disturbed his nap, but at the same time, he wants to figure out who it was. He had some sort of premonition about a rival of sorts, and he wonders if that's who did it. Back on Earth, Beerus arrives. After a short time skip after the Buu Saga, and this is even earlier than his normal arrival, and the first person he encounters is Vegeta. Interesting, the Saiyan Prince is still alive. And he asks, does he know anything about the Super Saiyan God? Vegeta has no idea, but he wonders, is he referring to Broly? Is that what he is? There's no way, it can't be, but the possibility is there. He has no clue though. With Beerus inquiring about the Super Saiyan God, Vegeta wonders. Well, they know about Super Saiyan, specifically 1 and 2. And there is also BROLY, who has a weird green-haired version of Super Saiyan, a lot more powerful than their versions of it. They still have no clue of what it really is. They think he's some sort of mutant, some anomaly maybe. But it could actually be the Super Saiyan God that Beerus is looking for. That would explain why he's so unique. So Beerus is intrigued. Take him to this BROLY guy. Of course, Vegeta's not going to turn that down. And most of the others learn of Beerus being there. With the Pure Saiyans and Piccolo coming over, Paragus warns BROLY not to go. Goku and BROLY have no idea of who Beerus is, but Paragus actually does. He was actually around on Planet Vegeta when Beerus visited, actually even witnessing him firsthand. He knows if Beerus gets mad, they're all gonna die, and he's warning everyone to not go. But they really don't have a choice. If anything, that's just gonna piss Beerus off even more if they don't meet him. And he wants to see BROLY specifically. This makes BROLY very nervous. Not only the fact that it's some dude from outer space calling himself a god of destruction, but the fact that Paragus is so terrified of him saying not to go. It's actually surprising to Goku and Piccolo. Seeing BROLY actually kinda nervous again for once. It's not too abnormal, but with him being one of the strongest in the group, it is off-putting, and it kinda spreads to them too. Beerus is glad to meet BROLY, and asks him to show off his power immediately. And skip that Super Saiyan stuff. Vegeta actually showed him Super Saiyan 1 and 2 in the meantime. He just wanted to see whatever BROLY has, that supposed Super Saiyan God form. So, BROLY ends up transforming. And Beerus is kind of impressed. I mean, it looks very brutish. That doesn't look like a god form at all. And he senses no godly ki within him. But it does seem decently powerful at least, and BROLY comments too. He has no clue why, but after fusing with Gohan, it seems his potential is drawn out a little bit more, briefly awakened after fusing with Gohan and transforming into Ultimate. He has grown stronger since the Buu Saga, noticeably so, and Beerus wants to see that power showcased. So, the two of them start fighting, and surprisingly, without any godly ki, Beerus is actually taken aback by how strong BROLY is. I mean, it's not anything in comparison to him, but by mortal standards, he's surprisingly powerful. Definitely more so than any of the other people here, and that makes him wonder even more. Where is the Super Saiyan God? If it's some sort of form maybe, well he wants to see how to obtain it, specifically for BROLY. Enough time has already passed from the Buu Saga to the point where they can actually use the Dragon Balls again, giving them the perfect chance to just ask Shenron about it. Maybe he knows. And of course, he's able to give the answer, telling them how to perform the Super Saiyan God ritual. And I don't think I need to tell you that there's definitely enough people here. It's the same crew as last time, except instead of Videl, BROLY's in it. And he's also the one that's going to become the Super Saiyan God, at the request of Beerus. Of course, Goku and Vegeta definitely want to try that out as well. But Beerus really wants it to be BROLY, which kind of worries them. They know BROLY's not really good at controlling his power. So, having him get Super Saiyan God, they're a little bit concerned about how that's going to go. Beerus doesn't care. He'll be able to stop BROLY. No matter how strong he gets as a Super Saiyan God, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Well, he's been warned and it looks like they can't really do anything else about it. Vegeta's absolutely terrified, as is pretty much everyone else there, including BROLY himself. But the ritual is done, as BROLY ascends up into the air, surrounded by a strange glow, and then descending. Not looking too much different besides his hair changing into a reddish color. And he seems to be completely lucid here. That's really weird because normally when BROLY transforms, they expect it to go either way. But he's actually got it under control here. And Whis says just as he expected. Even if BROLY does have issues controlling his power, it seems that a godly form is more than tranquil enough for him to handle. No one can sense his power, but they can feel the pressure coming off him just from his aura. But as for Beerus, he can sense it, and he is elated. He tells BROLY immediately, they gotta start fighting. Especially in case that power's fleeting. He wants to test it out right now. And BROLY has no idea if he's gonna be able to handle it. Not in the sense that he's gonna go berserk and can't control himself, but in the sense that he doesn't know his own strength right now. It's so different from what he's used to. They ascend up into the air and begin fighting. And Beerus is immediately impressed. The power that this mortal has. Well, he's not a mortal anymore, but still. To think that he got this strong from this transformation. Beerus needs to actually use a little bit more of his power. With the absurd growth BROLY has, combined now with his access to godly ki, the raw strength he's giving off is just indescribable. And Beerus tells BROLY, he definitely is his rival. He was the one destined to become a Super Saiyan God. BROLY is still worried though. With this great power, of course he can go all out against Beerus, but he's worried about using it in any other setting. There's just so much that what if he accidentally causes damage to places where he didn't mean to? Like, what if he's fighting someone on Earth and just accidentally blows up everything? His ki control can only go so far, and then now with this great jump in power, he's not sure how he's going to be able to control it, especially with his experiences from previous forms. And Beerus tells him, it's just like we said, godly ki is a whole different animal. It's not like his normal Super Saiyan transformations. Godly ki, especially in a form like this as a Super Saiyan God, well, BROLY should be able to handle it, and if anything, this is the right path for him. A power that's easy for him to control, something that he can harness pretty quickly. And especially because Beerus knows he has great potential with this form, he wants BROLY to continue training with it. He wants him to grow stronger as a Super Saiyan God. And they're gonna definitely be fighting more in the future too. BROLY honestly has no clue what to think about this. But Beerus tells him to be excited. He's just become a god. He's gonna be one of the strongest people in the universe, maybe even surpassing Beerus one day. He's already making Beerus use a good chunk of his power. And as much as Beerus hates to admit it, Broly may have the potential to surpass him. The explosive battle concludes. They land back on Earth with Broly detransforming, absorbing the power into his base, not even realizing it. And Beerus tells him to come to a consensus. Broly's gonna come to Beerus' planet, training under Whis. Beerus needs to make sure he can use this power to its fullest potential. Yeah, that's my fire alarm in the background. I should probably change the battery. Oh well, just ignore it like I'm doing. Speaking of ignoring things, Beerus just ends up ignoring Vegeta and Goku. They want to go train with Whis too. That sounds awesome. They want to become Super Saiyan gods. And Broly actually vouched for them. He tells Beerus he needs their assistance, but Beerus says he's going to be fine. If anything, he should learn to not rely on them as crutches. And Broly doesn't think he has been doing so, but Beerus doesn't really want them to come. Broly's enough there, and he doesn't really know how they can match up to him at all. He saw Vegeta's Super Saiyan 2, and honestly, he wasn't really too impressed. And maybe them as Super Saiyan gods would be nice, but nothing in comparison to Broly. He'd rather fully focus on Broly. And Paragus urges Broly, don't try to push back against Beerus. And honestly, Vegeta kind of agrees. So unfortunately, they're going to be staying on Earth right now. Broly is the only one to go to Beerus' planet. But Goku and Vegeta aren't going to give up there. No, they need to go train there. They want to become Super Saiyan gods. There's got to be some way to impress Beerus and Whis. Maybe they could do the god ritual themselves. But there's a pretty big issue with that. Broly's already gone, and they have no way to contact Beerus and Whis. And this is not too long after the Buu Saga, so Videl's not even pregnant, so she can't even join in. They actually do not have enough people here. Vegeta says there's also Tarble maybe, but he has no clue of how to reach him, and it might be wasted effort if anything. They need to think outside the box. Do something else to get Beerus' attention. Broly definitely will come back eventually. I mean, he's not just going to stay there permanently. They already confirmed that to them. And by the time Beerus is back, they need to impress him somehow. Vegeta immediately goes to Bulma, telling her to upgrade 16 again. 16 already tells Vegeta he's as strong as he possibly can be, and Bulma actually vouches for this too. Is he doubting her work? And even if she could upgrade him even more, I mean, she's kind of running out of ideas for how to upgrade him. She's upgraded him so much that she has no clue of how to make him even stronger than he already is. But Vegeta tells her, whatever she could do it. So she gets to work trying to improve him even further. And it's tough, but she's able to upgrade him somewhat, making him a very powerful training partner for Vegeta. And immediately, they head into the Room of Spirit and Time. But what's Goku up to? He doesn't really want to go in the Room of Spirit and Time right now. Instead, he's got two other training partners, Gohan and Piccolo, both of whom are above him. And he's actually surprised. Doesn't Gohan want to become a Super Saiyan god as well? Well, it could be cool, but he doesn't want to go to Beerus' planet necessarily. Besides, now with Ultimate, he's got more than enough power, and he can keep growing with this, maybe grow even beyond it somehow. And as for Piccolo, his orange form, that's more than enough. Without Broly, he's the strongest person on Earth actually. So in a surprising turn of events, the Saiyans are behind. Goku and Vegeta, they're not at the top, probably not even close. Broly, Piccolo, Gohan, 16, all of them are ahead of those two. If anything, this will just push them even further though. A lot of time ends up passing. Broly starts training on Beerus' planet, growing far stronger. He does go back to Earth occasionally. Beerus does want to get some food from there, and Broly obviously wants to go home once in a while. He's making great progress. He hasn't evolved Super Saiyan God in any way, but he's still growing in terms of power. And Beerus is absolutely stunned at how Broly's growing. Every time Beerus visits Earth, Goku and Vegeta try to impress him in some way. And after all this time, at one point, Beerus is just a little bit too annoyed by them. So he takes the bait and asks them, what are they doing? What can they do to impress him? Without godly powers, he wants them to impress him somehow. And they've actually unlocked the perfect thing. Together, they both begin transforming, going into Super Saiyan 2, but start powering up beyond that. They tell Beerus this is their true potential. Look how much they've grown just in the past few months alone. With their rigorous training and motivation, they're able to get a level beyond Super Saiyan 2, showing off Super Saiyan 3 simultaneously. And Beerus honestly isn't too impressed. I mean, they're definitely way stronger than before, and for everybody else there, the form is impressive, despite the drawbacks that it does have. But it does show Beerus these two are very motivated, and they have the potential to grow pretty quickly. Maybe not on Broly's level, but they still could grow pretty quick. Alright, well, how about this? Let's do the Super Saiyan God ritual on them. Now with Broly here, they can actually try it. There's not really too much risk here. If they're too weak, Beerus isn't going to take them, but they get to keep the form. And if they're strong enough, Beerus will take them. So once again, the Super Saiyan God ritual is done. Twice actually, both on Goku and Vegeta, as they showcase their new Super Saiyan God forms. As Beerus expected, it's not as impressive as Broly's. Still, impressive though. And he does see the potential that they have. He ends up facing them, both at once actually, not individually. And even with this, they still don't put up as much of a challenge as Broly did. Not that Broly was too much of a challenge for him, but still. He was definitely a tougher opponent than both of them combined. And Beerus wonders if they'll ever reach his level. They definitely have the dedication for it though, and they could at least try that. So, reluctantly he decides, yeah, why not? Take them to his planet. They're Super Saiyan gods now, so he might as well. Especially because it'll help Broly grow even more, since he'll have more training partners, and the fact that Broly's more comfortable with them around anyways. Oh my god, that fire alarm. It's just for this video, I promise. It adds character. But that's not the only thing that's been happening here. Frieza's army tries to collect the Dragon Balls, and they're successful in doing so, using Shenron to revive Frieza. They've been spying on Earth, planning their revenge, and they're able to figure this out, get the Dragon Balls, revive Frieza, and have him destroy them. Of course, Frieza's glad to do so, and he surprisingly begins training. But amidst his training, there's somewhat of a weird occurrence. Ships from his army watch nearby. With Frieza training on some barren planet, all the scouters on the ship go off. They sense a strong power nearby, and it's not Frieza's. Frieza looks up, seeing some sort of light in the sky. It slowly descends down on the planet, and a man lands nearby, telling Frieza he sensed him all the way out in space, wondering what that power was. Well, he knew who it was. He could easily pick up on that key. And Frieza asks, who the hell is this guy? And what does he want? The man introduces himself. His name is Cell. He knows of Frieza. Actually, he's part Frieza. He's been looking for a good fight for a while, having grown a lot stronger, needing some way to test out his power. And Frieza seems like the perfect target, especially because he's back now and he's grown stronger. With Cell wondering how Frieza even did come back, and Frieza can't even believe what he's hearing. This man, he's part Frieza? He's a faker, an imposter. But it's not just that. Cell says he's also part of others too, including some of the Saiyans. Actually, not even from this timeline. But Frieza says if he wants to fight, he's kind of in over his head. He doesn't realize how strong Frieza is now, no matter what intel he has on Frieza. And Frieza starts to transform, showing off his new golden form. He doesn't have much practice with it. He's only been training for about 2 months by now. But he has it, and it's definitely a lot stronger. And Cell's interested. He likes that form. He wonders if he could do it too. More importantly though, he's aiming for perfection. In his mind, a fight like this can help him grow even more. Maybe he could even absorb Frieza's power. Cell's been waiting for so long, trying to find a way to become perfect. He's been training, of course, growing a lot stronger. But he still wants that perfection. And maybe getting power through battle could help. Frieza launches in, and Cell's actually able to keep up pretty easily. And Frieza can't believe it. Someone's able to match this power? And Cell reminds him who he is, all the people he's comprised of. He's genetically built to be the perfect warrior, and he's almost at that perfection. He tries to stab Frieza with his tail, but Frieza's barely able to jump out of the way. And Cell thinks he could drain Frieza of all his power, but he doesn't know if it's worth it, especially for the influence that Frieza might have on him. Cell is nearly perfect as is. He doesn't want to ruin that by having Frieza muddy the waters. But he can steal a little bit of energy. He continuously tries to strike Frieza with his tail, and eventually lands a hit, taking some energy from him. More data that'll help him grow stronger, and rejuvenate him a little bit. He tells Frieza honestly he's a bit disappointed. He expected more of Frieza after sensing that power. And it seems like he's running out of stamina pretty quickly too. That golden form is just flashy, there's nothing behind it. But he thanks Frieza for the experience. And angrily, Frieza launches a blast down towards the planet, blowing it up, laughing. He says Cell's not gonna survive this. But he does. Frieza floats there in space, bloodied and beaten. All the ships are barely able to get out of the way, but as Frieza's eyes dart around, he then sees Cell. Cell already told him so many times, he's part Frieza. He could survive in space. And with a single attack, he finally wipes away Frieza. Well, at least he had some fun here, but it was kind of a waste. But Cell has a new idea though. He looks around at all those other Frieza Force ships, and his mind begins racing. Maybe they have the resources available. I mean, there's some pretty good scientists with the Frieza Force most likely. They could have the resources he needs. Cell hasn't just been training. He's been spending his time researching, trying to find materials for himself. He wants to build the parts that he needs. Because theoretically, if he just needs to absorb an android, can't he just create another one just like that? Or at least finding the pieces that he needs to actually activate that perfection. From his own innate knowledge, and with an android already in him, he could probably try to construct the parts he needs, especially with the help from the Frieza Force's resources, and maybe their scientists. And that'll be perfect. Once he does that, he can then go back to Earth, and face the others. But he doesn't necessarily want to kill them. Well, unless they end up disappointing like Frieza. He can keep them around. If they are actually impressive to fight, it would be a waste to kill them. He's obsessed with fighting, so if he kills them, then what fun is he going to have then? It's going to be a repeat of what he just went through. The ships try to rocket off, but Cell chases after them, punching through one of the airlocks and entering that way. He tells them now that Frieza's gone, they're going to be under new management, and he only has one use for them, their tech. The rest of the Frieza Force watches on terrified, but they have nothing else to do here. They kind of just have to listen to Cell. Immediately after gaining control of the Frieza Force, Cell just uses them for his own gain. He just wants to get perfection after all. He has no use taking over planets or whatever. He needs to reach his true potential. Of course he's been training, trying to grow as strong as possible, but now with these resources, he can finally attain perfection. And it doesn't take too long for the Frieza Force scientists to figure out something, especially with Cell's own knowledge and his help. Cell evolves, finally attaining the perfection that he sought for so long. And just to make sure that he doesn't have to deal with Frieza again, he just obliterates the Frieza Force. He already got use out of them, so it doesn't really matter. Frieza could be a fun opponent to fight again, but Cell was kind of underwhelmed with his last battle. More importantly, he's focused on a few certain people on Earth, mainly BROLY. He wants to find BROLY again, face him now with perfection, see if the two are matched in strength somehow. Thankfully, he doesn't need their spaceships either. He just simply flies over to Earth. It doesn't take too long for him to arrive. And immediately, those who are on Earth can sense Cell's power. Gohan and Piccolo must think this is the result of the Dragon Balls. What if that was Cell that came there and got them? They could recognize his power, and it's changed quite a bit. It's a lot stronger than before. But that doesn't make sense. They would have sensed him when he came here last time. Who used the Dragon Balls and for what? But it doesn't matter. There's no time to question it. Immediately, Gohan and Piccolo head over to try and face him. With these two being the strongest on Earth right now, BROLY, and Goku and Vegeta for that matter, are all on Beerus' planet. So it's up to them. Cell's there waiting, in the middle of nowhere, knowing that someone's gonna come to him eventually. And he's elated. It's two people that he recognizes, one who he actually fought alongside before, albeit briefly. It's Piccolo and Gohan. He and Gohan don't actually have much history here because of how differently the Cell Saga went. But from what he understands, Gohan is decently powerful. He doesn't know how strong the two of them are right now, but he doesn't think they will be a threat for him. He just asked them. He wants to see BROLY. He's not actually here to destroy them, even though they might think so. That would be kind of a waste. Of course, these two aren't going to buy it. Cell is a threat after all, and always has been. Especially with him randomly appearing on Earth now, with some new power. He looks completely different. But Cell tells him to stop being so paranoid. If he wanted to destroy them, he could have just done so a long time ago. He could have blown up Earth if he wanted. He really just wants to see his own strength compared to theirs. He tells them he's been growing a lot stronger, and not just that, he's finally attained perfection, as they could see. And he tells them they owe him if anything. For what? Well, Frieza came back. That must have been what the Dragon Balls were used for, and he was actually the one to kill Frieza. And he does mention Frieza got a lot stronger, but not strong enough to actually contend against Cell. But who knows, Frieza might have come here and slaughtered them all, if it wasn't for Cell stopping him. Piccolo tells Cell that they're the two strongest here. BROLY's gone, and he's probably not going to come back for a while. They still obviously don't trust Cell being here. He's still a threat after all. But maybe he is kind of telling the truth. If he wanted them dead, he could have done so a while ago. He could do it right now. And Cell's annoyed with waiting. He just wants to find BROLY, asking where he is. They come up with a lie and Piccolo says he has no clue where BROLY went. He, Goku, and Vegeta went off planet. They're somewhere out in space. Piccolo's concern is that if he does find BROLY, imagine if Cell gets to Beerus' planet. If he really is a threat, what if he's able to absorb one of their powers? What if he's able to get Beerus' power for himself too? It's too much of a risk. They'll have to defeat him here. And Piccolo says if he wants to fight, he could face the two of them. And Cell isn't too amused by this. But Piccolo then powers up, with Gohan following suit. Gohan goes into his ultimate form, while Piccolo goes into his orange form. And this does impress Cell. He didn't realize they grew this strong. Alright, fine. How about this? He'll fight them here, and they'll make a nice wager. He is a man of his word after all. He could tell Piccolo's hiding something. So if Cell wins here, he wants Piccolo to tell him the truth. All he cares about is facing BROLY. But if Piccolo and Gohan win here, well, that would mean Cell's able to test his full power, and he will have a fun fight in the process, so he'll let it slide. Looks like they don't really have a choice, and they accept those conditions, but they still don't believe it. They're not just going to trust Cell's word that easily, of course. Cell charges Ki, showing off his newfound strength, and immediately, the 2v1 begins. They're actually having a tough time against Cell. They didn't realize he grew this powerful. He's impressed with their strength too, especially Piccolo's. That new form looks very menacing, and he tells Piccolo it suits him pretty well. And Gohan, that was someone who he never actually got to fight. It's strange that he's not using a Super Saiyan form though, but Gohan says he has no need. And Cell could tell something strange about Gohan. Apparently this power he's using draws out his full potential. But he notices, as the battle goes on, Gohan grows fiercer and fiercer, and his strength grows with it. Cell is somewhat enjoying himself here, but this battle is still far too easy for him, even with the two against him. He taunts them mid-battle, trying to get them to use their full strength. And they are, or at least they claim they are. But he needs something to motivate them even further. Cell is all about having a good fight after all, and he has an idea in mind that might be a bit risky. A bluff. Maybe that can make this fight more fun. Maybe after what he said before, they don't view him as a threat, and maybe they do need to view him as a threat to make this fight more enjoyable. Piccolo already is concerned. He doesn't want Cell seeking out BROLY. They need to defeat him here, just to keep him interested. And part of Cell actually does want to stay here. He wants to see Gohan's true power now. Gohan even claims mid-battle. Even if it seems like Cell has the upper hand, Gohan will figure out a way to win. He and BROLY aren't so different, and this really intrigues Cell to hear. So it is true, both of them, they derive immense strength from anger. And Cell has a pretty good idea. He tells them they need to take this fight a little bit more seriously. How about this? If they lose here, he's gonna destroy Earth. They knew it, and they kind of expected this. They were fighting like that anyways, like the fate of Earth depended on it. And Cell starts trying a little harder himself. He's eventually even able to defeat Piccolo, just leaving Gohan against him. He tells Gohan he knows he has more strength in there, but if Gohan doesn't show him anything impressive here, well, he'll just destroy the planet. There's no reason to keep it around in that case. Initially, he was going to keep it around because he knew there were strong people in there, like BROLY, and maybe some of the others, but if this is all they have to offer, there's no point keeping Earth around. He only needs to find BROLY. And even better, if he destroys Earth, that'll get BROLY to get really powerful. He saw how strong BROLY got when he was enraged before, so imagine now when he hears his home planet's gone. Gohan is beaten down, while Cell also fends Piccolo off, who keeps trying to get back up and fight, but for some reason this isn't working. Alright, looks like Cell's actually gonna have to do it. he floats up into the air. He sticks out a hand, charging a blast. It condenses, but as soon as it's fully charged, it then expands once more. A brilliant glow illuminates everything as the beam comes down towards Earth. Gohan counters it with a Kamehameha, while Piccolo comes in with a Masenko. The two try their hardest to push it back, but Cell's able to overpower their blast. It does take a little effort for him to push back, but still. He says they're gonna have to try a little bit harder than that. The blast gets closer and closer to Earth. Gohan looks over at Piccolo, seeing him struggling. Cell's really serious. It's now or never. He needs to do something. It's the only way he could save himself, save his family, save his friends, and prevent Cell from destroying anything else. But Gohan then feels something strange. He knew he was on the cusp of something before, but now he feels a surge of power. And it's not like his ultimate form. He just feels some sort of immense rage, some power derived from it. It reminds him what he experienced as a child, like when he was fighting against Nappa, or when he was fighting against Frieza on Namek. Something awakens inside of him. Suddenly, Cell's beam is completely overpowered, with Cell narrowly jumping out of the way. And the attack that comes towards him, it's purely Gohan's Kamehameha. Piccolo's attack is dwarfed by Gohan's attack. Cell looks down at the ground, seeing a strange aura emanating from Gohan, and Piccolo's standing there, amazed at what he's seeing. What happened to him? He looked completely different, and Cell smirks. That's more like it. That's what he wanted to see. Gohan looks up at Cell, now with larger white hair. He vanishes from sight, then appearing in front of Cell. He delivers a punch, and Cell is barely able to block it, and he feels the pain ringing through his body. Good. This is the power he wanted to see. Gohan glares at Cell, and Cell tells him he was half bluffing about destroying Earth. He just needed to force this power out of Gohan somehow, make this fight more interesting. And Gohan's infuriated by this. All of this just for some stupid battle. He threatened to destroy everything so needlessly. But Cell says Gohan should be thanking him. Look at the power he's unlocked. And now, they can have a truly amazing battle. Cell launches in towards Gohan, attacking, and Gohan's able to block it. Cell's using his full power now, and Gohan, he's now in his beast form, using his full strength. The two start brawling midair. Gohan's actually overpowering Cell. Piccolo's stunned to watch this. Is this the power that Gohan had inside of him? He and Gohan had been training, and he knew Gohan had something like this in him, but not this strong. Not a completely new form like this. It's terrifying. The power emanating off of it. The way it looks too. The battle rages on, and slowly, Cell begins losing ground more and more. But somehow, Cell is still happy. He's having fun with this battle. And he has a trump card. He knows Gohan wants to kill him, but he knows a way to avoid it. Enjoy this battle to its fullest. He's impressed with Gohan's strength, but at the same time, he knows his perfect form can overcome this. But it doesn't seem like it can. As they fight midair, a beam comes from the ground from Piccolo, who's been charging a blast, launching it at Cell. Cell dodges it in the nick of time, but it works as a perfect distraction too. Gohan blindsides Cell, then grabbing his leg, flinging him up into the atmosphere. Gohan then rushes up there, once again instantly appearing in front of Cell, and point blank, he performs a Kamehameha, seemingly destroying every little bit of Cell. It's over. They protected Earth. Gohan lands back on the surface, tired out, but glad that they won, and Piccolo congratulates him. That power, it's amazing. The two power down, but as they do so, they sense another power appear. It's Cell again. He regenerated completely, a contingency plan of sorts. He knew to move his core around, protect it as much as possible, and he did grow stronger from this regeneration, but he tells them, he promised that if they won, he'd leave them alone. Gohan and Piccolo power back up, trying to use the last of their strength, but Cell says he's not going to fight. They won fair and square, and he got to see Gohan's power. You know, he does want to see Broly again and fight him, but it seems even these two are interesting. He'll visit again eventually, and thanks Gohan for granting him this new power too. Gohan and Piccolo get ready to attack, but Cell just simply flies off out into space, leaving the two of them dumbfounded. He actually was serious. All he cares about is fighting, growing stronger, having a fun battle. What the hell is that guy? But this also shows them another thing. This whole time they've been training, it's been for a good purpose. They defended Earth here, and if Cell ever comes back, they're going to need to be able to defend it once again. Especially now with Gohan having that brand new power, he's going to have to learn how to completely control it. Because who knows what's going to happen next time if Cell comes back. He's such a wild card. They don't know what to think. Meanwhile, on Beerus' planet, training is continuing as normal, but they have actually been watching what's going on. They were about to intervene, but by the time they saw the battle, Gohan had already transformed, and they can't believe the power that he's giving off. Well, Broly can kind of believe it. He knew Gohan had something like that in him. They are pretty similar after all. And Goku's not too surprised either. They're mainly more surprised at Cell, seeing that he's back and that strong. He won't be a threat though, especially with the new powers they've all obtained. Goku and Vegeta were able to catch up pretty quickly, getting God Ki and getting the hang of it. But they are lagging behind a little bit, because they did start a lot later than normal. Broly is still only working with the Super Saiyan God, same for Goku and Vegeta. But Goku and Vegeta do have another idea, combining Super Saiyan God with the power of Super Saiyan. That could work pretty well. As for Broly, he's not too sure. It sounds very risky, especially because Beerus says so. Super Saiyan God's already working amazingly for Broly. Just with that form alone, he's so incredibly powerful. Even with the two of them combined, Broly's stronger than them. and he's going to continue working with this, gaining perfect control over Godly Ki before he tries to go beyond it. Even with the calming focus of this form, he isn't too sure how it would work with the Super Saiyan, especially if he tries to use a Super Saiyan form with Godly Ki. That could be a recipe for disaster. Eventually, we get the Universe 6 tournament, and it's a perfect opportunity to showcase everyone's power. This time they don't actually need Monaka either, because the 3 Saiyans are motivated enough. Goku and Vegeta want to keep catching up to BROLY, and as for BROLY, well, he's BROLY. Beerus doesn't think he needs the motivation, he just wants to control that power, and he's already strong enough as is. As for the rest of the team, they recruit Gohan and Piccolo, and as you could probably imagine, this team for the tournament is way too stacked. Universe 6 stands no chance against it. But this tournament does serve as one important thing. Goku and Vegeta are actually the weakest people here, but they're ready to reclaim the throne, especially Vegeta. Goku is unfortunately eliminated by Frost by being poisoned, but that lets Vegeta go up, being able to showcase his newest power, Super Saiyan Blue. And this carries him through the rest of the tournament until he faces Hit, with Hit then eliminating him. But they're happy, this power works, and even if they aren't as strong as they are normally, it's very potent. They're content with where they are, and they'll continue growing as much as possible. Once Vegeta is eliminated, the person to face Hit is Gohan. Hit has some amazing abilities with his time skip and all, but Gohan showcases his beast form, and Broly is excited to see this in person. So is Goku, and Beerus for that matter too. Although, the people in the stands find it kind of freaky. Goten and Trunks think it's awesome. Chi-Chi and Bulma think it's freaky, especially Chi-Chi. And Videl kinda likes it. It's just not the Gohan she's used to. But the 2 gods of destruction watch with their jaws dropped. This is immortal. He doesn't have any godly powers. And the ki coming off him, it's insane. Hit's even taken aback by it. And his time skip does help him at first, but he can't do any sort of damage to Gohan. Gohan says the abilities he has are cool, but Hit's gonna need more than that to defeat him. And before Hit can even progress at all, Gohan's able to secure the win. Broly and Piccolo are a bit bummed that they couldn't fight, but hey, as long as Universe 7 wins. So that's great, it went well for Universe 7, although there is a pretty big consequence of this tournament. Someone else was watching, obviously, that being Zamasu. At least, another Timeline's version of him. Gohan's power does impress him, but he's not making a mockery of Godly Ki at least. But there are 2 others that are doing so, Goku and Vegeta, which leads to Zamasu becoming Goku Black, at least one of the Zamasus. He learns that those 3 Saiyans all have godly powers, as opposed to Vegeta because he learns that Goku's actually the stronger of the 2, and he'll be sure to eliminate them in this timeline. But when he steals Goku's body, there is kind of an issue. The people that he fends off on Earth are pretty powerful, and he can't really contend against them. Goku Black definitely was a safer bet for the body to steal. He could have taken Broly's body, but from what he understands, Broly has pretty uncontrollable power. He'd rather not have to worry about that, especially if he's getting a new body, he's gonna have an even worse time controlling it. And instead of fighting everyone, he simply blows up this timeline's version of Earth. It's the quickest way to get rid of everybody, and he goes around destroying this timeline, eventually going to another one, the one where Trunks is from, meeting up with that other Zamasu, who used the Super Dragon Balls to become immortal. But Goku Black is still worried. He doesn't have a full control over Goku's power yet, and if they face any stronger foes, he's not too sure what will happen. He's gonna need to prepare somehow, and they end up getting a good idea for the first test of Goku Black's power. Apparently, Broly was never found in this timeline. He never came to Earth. Goku Black knows from Goku's memories where he was found, some planet called Vampa. Maybe they could find Broly there, and if he truly isn't the same Broly, he probably won't be strong enough to face them, but will be strong enough to still be a good test for Goku Black's power. And worst case, they just blow up the planet like they did with Earth in the other timeline. They do need to eliminate all mortals after all, so why not start with Broly before he becomes a problem? If he even would become a problem. It's a win-win. They get to test Goku Black's power, possibly even making him stronger, and they get to eliminate one of the strongest mortals who's a concern for them. Before the 2 head to Earth, they actually seek out planet Vampa. It's not too hard for Zamasu and Goku Black to find Vampa. They know that's where they need to head, and with the Kai Kai, it's very easy to transport themselves around the universe. This is their first target in Universe 7 at least, and when they arrive on the planet, they don't sense too much, but they do sense a slight power somewhere nearby, and at some points it does surge. That's gotta be Broly. Since this is so far into the future, Paragus is already dead. Broly's been on this planet for his entire life, and now he's completely alone, but he's been reunited with his pet Ba. It's been years since Paragus has died, and it's a pretty sad reality, but Broly keeps persevering, and Broly can tell something's off. He sees 2 people fly towards him. He doesn't know who either of them are. Zamasu and Goku Black laugh. This shouldn't be too hard. He definitely isn't as strong as the normal Broly that they know of. He's been stuck here his entire life. He probably doesn't even know how to get into a real fight. Goku Black's the one to take it. He says he can handle this. He still does need to get more use out of this body after all. And this shouldn't be too bad. He creates a sword out of ki. Broly's immediately on guard, seeing these 2 as a threat. Goku Black lunges in, and Broly is surprisingly fast, being able to dodge it. These 2 are here to kill him. He doesn't know why or who they are, but he's not going to question it. And he's already starting to get infuriated. All these years on this planet, just for these 2 random people to show up and try and kill him for no reason. He lived a relatively peaceful existence. Well, by Saiyan standards at least. He just wants to live here in peace. After all he's been through, he doesn't want to die here. He's not going to give in. Whoever this is, he'll eliminate them. He starts powering up, and Goku Black's actually pretty surprised. This is the first time Broly's felt anger in a while, and he knows it's dangerous. Before, Paragus was there to control him, and when Paragus died, that almost did set Broly off, but it was more so sadness than anything. And now Broly's on his own. If he loses control here, it's all over. He tries to keep calm, but then Goku Black starts launching Ki Blasts at him too, and Broly's easily able to defend against it, but he can feel it. He's losing control of himself. A strange green aura surrounds him. He bulks up, his hair grows in size, and his eyes turn yellow. This is his Wrathful form. And now Goku Black can't keep up against it. But the good thing is, Goku Black learning as he fights too, learning to make better use of Goku's body, getting a better hang of the power inside it. The two continue brawling, and at one point, Goku Black launches another Ki Blast at him, followed up by a volley of them, and then Broly notices something. Nearby, he sees Ba, and Goku Black notices Broly lost focus of the fight. What, is that his pet? One of the stray Ki Blasts goes right towards Ba, and Broly tries to jump in front of it, but it's already too late. Ba is killed by a stray blast from Goku Black, and Goku Black laughs. He didn't intend to do that, but now Broly's distracted. That worked pretty perfectly in his favor. Broly rushes over to where Ba is, and Goku Black follows close behind with a Ki sword in his hand. He lunges his hand into Broly, but as the sword makes contact, it completely breaks apart. Broly then grabs his arm, crushing it. It's almost like the whole planet starts shaking. That aura around Broly, it grows fiercer and fiercer. He looks over at Goku Black, and Black is terrified. Broly's face looks almost animalistic. His aura flares up fully, and then he screams. A massive dome of Ki is generated around him, knocking both Zamasu and Goku Black back. This massive explosion is followed by Broly floating there, now appearing to be in Super Saiyan, and Goku Black's injured. One of his arms is completely broken too. He tells Zamasu to come over here and heal him, but before he can, it's almost like Broly moves instantaneously, appearing right in front of Goku Black and eliminating him with a single Ki Blast. Zamasu looks on in complete awe. Broly then launches a Ki Blast at him, disintegrating Zamasu, but he regenerates, of course. They lost that easily? It can't be. Goku Black's already dead? Broly continuously tries to beat up Zamasu, and Zamasu can't really do anything against it. Yeah, he keeps regenerating, but he's just in constant pain from being beaten up by Broly. There's only one way he can see out of this. He can't kill Broly, and he could destroy the planet, but he actually has a better idea. What if he could use this power for himself? What if he can mind control Broly? He should be easily corruptible in this state. He knows that magic is capable of that, and maybe he could try something like that. Control Broly that way. And that might actually work. It'll allow him to get out of here, and he could use Broly as a weapon. Think of what Babidi was able to do. It's similar to kind of what happened there. And Zamasu tries desperately to do this. He teleports far away on another side of the planet, just so he can get some time alone, but he can already sense Broly rushing over, and he tries to prepare for this. He's looking into Broly's mind, see if he can control him in any way. And it works. He's completely unconscious right now, essentially. With no control of himself, he's actually somewhat easy to possess. And right before he's about to hit Zamasu with another attack, he stops. He then powers down, going back into his base, falling unconscious to the ground. As Zamasu could feel it, Broly is completely under his control. He can't believe it came to this, but this was the only thing he could really think of. To think that Goku Black's already dead. Well, the Zero Morals plan can still continue. He is immortal after all, now he has this weapon. And once he's done with Broly, it'll be easy to dispose of him. Just send him out into space. Or forcefully fuse with Broly, put an earring on him. He's not too sure. He's thinking through his options, because now he has to kind of improvise. What will he do now? There's a brief passage of time in this timeline. And back in the present timeline, somebody familiar appears. Trunks arrives at Capsule Corp, and everyone's pretty shocked to see him. Why is he here? What's going on? Well, Trunks explains. He's had his timeline all sorted out so far. There's no more threats from the androids or Cell, and in terms of the Buu Saga, that pretty much happened the same way it did normally. He tells them there was someone attacking Earth, and it looked to be Broly, but he's not sure how it happened or how he even came here. The thing is, once the androids were eliminated, Trunks had a few ideas in mind. He wanted to try locating New Namek, but couldn't find it, and he also wanted to try to locate Broly, but he couldn't find where he was either. He had no clue where to go for Vampa, and he couldn't even get in contact with King Kai to help. So he's not sure how Broly showed up or why he's attacking here, but it seems kind of weird. Broly showed up on Earth not too long ago, and he's attacked a few times but Trunks doesn't notice. There was some cloaked figure there too with Broly, and Broly just seemed kind of mindless. He wasn't transformed either, he was in his base, but he looked almost robotic in a way. At first he thinks maybe that's an android based on Broly, he's literally robotic, but that makes no sense to him. He can't tell what it is, and Broly's ki, it does feel like normal Broly, at least the one that he sensed when he was back here. The only difference is he had different clothes on, slightly different clothes. He didn't have that Saiyan armor, but he had that same pelt on too. President Broly is obviously pretty surprised to hear this. The good thing is here too, no one chases them back. Zamasu could, but it seems too risky. So if the time machine isn't destroyed, they can actually head right back. Well, first they want to get some more fuel obviously, but they can actually go right back when they need. It's a little bit squished, but a few people go with Trunks to the future. Goku, Vegeta, and Broly join him. Trunks would love to catch up with everyone, but first they need to fix this. And they should act as quickly as they can. He didn't even get to see Piccolo or Gohan yet, but from what he could tell, everyone is far stronger than before, so this should work out, especially if they have Broly on their side too. Trunks wonders how strong present Broly is in comparison to the future one, and Broly says he's sure he can handle it. Even if he didn't have Godly Ki, he still might be able to do this. But he's got to see what this other Broly is like. They arrive back in the future, and they can immediately sense that power. It does feel exactly like Broly's, but something is off about it. Like, there's some sort of malice in there that doesn't seem like something that Broly would have. and his ki feels very strange. They can't quite put their finger on it, but then it hits BROLY. That feels kind of like the way Paragus and Vegeta's ki felt when they were possessed. He's not too sure why, but when they were possessed, their ki felt way different. Besides the maliciousness within it, there was some sort of other aspect to it. And he asks Trunks, did he see a symbol on BROLY's head or something? Like an M? And Trunks says no, and he realizes he's talking about Majin Buu and Babidi. Well, Majin Buu's revival was prevented, and Babidi's not here, so it can't be that. Future BROLY comes over to the area, and they see that same cloaked figure. BROLY doesn't even hesitate. He immediately sticks a hand up, launching a ki blast at that cloaked man. He regenerates completely, and his identity is revealed. It's a Kai? Wait, what? And Zamasu's surprised. He brought back all these people, including Goku. Zamasu immediately sends BROLY into attack, making him transform as well. And they could tell, that Kai is commanding BROLY somehow. That explains why his ki feels like that. He's being possessed by magic, but not by Babidi. By a Kai of all people. Future BROLY launches over to the main BROLY, and present BROLY closes his eyes, calming himself as he transforms into a Super Saiyan God. Right when Future BROLY is about to hit him, he's then surrounded by a fiery ki as BROLY binds him in place. Actually, with one hand too. And before Zamasu could do anything, he's bound by Goku's ki too. These are the people Trunks is dealing with? They don't seem too strong. Well, that other guy, the Kai, he regenerated somehow from BROLY's attack that should have eradicated him completely. Zamasu tries desperately to break free, and BROLY does too, but he can't. Present BROLY then sticks his other hand out, telling Goku he could let go of Zamasu. Telekinetically, he brings future BROLY and Zamasu down to the surface. And Zamasu asks what they think they're doing. Once again, that mortal Trunks, he time traveled, and these guys here, making a mockery of godly ki. It's infuriating. They have no clue of what Zamasu's talking about. And Trunks personally confronts him. Why is he doing all this? Zamasu says he's a fool. He wouldn't even understand. He has a beautiful and divine plan. The Zero Mortals plan. He doesn't even tell him about Goku Black because frankly it's embarrassing. He explains that he's using BROLY as his weapon to eliminate the mortals. And they won't be able to win here. BROLY calmly retorts, saying they pretty much already did. But who is this Zamasu guy and how did he even regenerate? And Zamasu starts laughing. They can't win. He's immortal. No matter what they do, they can't kill Zamasu. He's already killed so many people. The plan's already set in motion, and there's no way they're going to stop him now. Vegeta says he's sure there's some way they could do this. Even if he's immortal, they'll find a way to kill him. And as Goku looks on, he has a perfect idea. Having them stuck in the God Bind like this, it makes Goku realize, why don't they just seal Zamasu somehow? Zamasu's eyes widen. Oh crap. And Goku actually has the perfect plan. He says he's going to go back in time for a bit. He knows somebody who could seal Zamasu. Vegeta heads back with him too. And BROLY says he could stay here. He could do this all day, and he smirks over at Zamasu. So that other BROLY, he actually is normal. He's just under Zamasu's possession. And since he's in Super Saiyan right now and completely berserk, he doesn't even realize who he's looking at. But BROLY tries to talk to his future self, trying to get into his head and calm him down. If anyone knows how to get into BROLY's head, it's himself. And he's got to figure out some way to get into his mind. Apparently, Zamasu found him on Vampa. He's been there all these years. But he sees something they have in common. He sees the pelt that BROLY has. Ba's severed ear. He has an idea. He starts talking to his future self about Ba. He assumes that Paragus drove him away too. Paragus shot his ear off and then he never saw Ba again. He doesn't even know if Ba is still alive. And he switches to binding both of them with one hand. With his other hand, he takes his pelt off. And he holds it in front of future BROLY. And with Zamasu being held in place and not controlling BROLY, future BROLY is actually kind of on his own right now. BROLY holds out the pelt to his future self. And then frees his future self too. Trunks asks what he's doing, but BROLY says he's got this. And future BROLY's not attacking. He's still in Super Saiyan. His eyes completely blank. But he looks down at the pelt. It's the same one he has. This is the one thing that brings him back to sanity. His connection with Ba. And as he recollects himself, he looks closer at the other BROLY, realizing who he's talking to. His hair then falls down. It's black again. Trunks is amazed, and Zamasu's horrified. Future BROLY looks around, wondering where he is. Present BROLY says he'll explain everything. It's gonna be fine. Well, he's gonna try to explain everything. He still has no clue of what happened here. Just how Zamasu stumbled upon this version of BROLY. Soon after, Goku returns, but without the time machine. He comes back with Piccolo and Shin. Beerus and Whis were chilling on Earth. And when Goku told them Kai was involved, they immediately went to Universe 10 to find Zamasu. And then Shin came to ask Goku questions too. Goku says he was back here just to get Piccolo. Initially, Goku said he could just learn the Mufuru himself, but he knows Piccolo already doesn't know it. So he's gonna go back to the future with him. Shin says he'll just take them there. He has a time ring after all. They don't need to use the time machine. So they come back there, with Vegeta staying back. This way they don't have to wait to refuel, since this is a better way to transport them. Zamasu is angered by a Kai betraying him. But Shin doesn't even exchange any words with Zamasu. Zamasu then looks over at Piccolo. What's he doing? Piccolo places down a jar. Piccolo still has no clue who this guy is, but he says it's strange that he's gonna have to seal a Kai. Shin offered to try and do it too, but Piccolo says he's got this. Piccolo prepares the Mafuba, with Zamasu horrified as he realizes what's gonna happen. He's then caught up in the Mafuba, sealed away. Future BROLY is still completely lost, having no clue what's going on, but he actually seems calm now, although he's kind of freaking out that he's talking to himself, and everything that's happened so far. He kind of remembers, but when he was under Zamasu's control, he didn't really realize what was going on too much. And then he looks over at Goku, angered. The last thing he remembers was being on Vampa. Ba died, and that was the person who killed him. He thought he killed that guy, but he's still here. Future Broly then transforms once more, going in to fight Goku. Goku immediately turns Super Saiyan Blue, with President Broly jumping in too. And together, the two of them try to hold Future Broly in place once again with their ki. Broly talks to his future self. Calm down, what's going on? And they're all as confused as him. They didn't hear of Goku Black, so they don't know what's going on. Trunks says that makes no sense. Goku's dead in this timeline, he couldn't have attacked. Was it maybe another low-class Saiyan that looked just like him, and somehow there's another Saiyan out there? They're able to get Future Broly to calm down once more. And he says that Zamasu guy showed up with Goku. That guy right there. Except he was wearing a different outfit. He apologized for lashing out, but that guy, Goku killed Ba and then tried to kill him. And President Broly sees what's going on. That's how Zamasu found him. And that's how he got control of this Broly. He went completely berserk when Ba died. And this saddens him too. He was on Vampa that entire time. Paragus is dead too apparently. For all these decades, Broly's been there, and now he's there alone. With his only friend being killed by some Goku imposter apparently. This Broly must be pretty old too. Since Trunks is so far ahead, Broly also realized that this future Broly might be close to his rapid aging soon. He's lost his entire life by being stuck on Vampa, and Shin says he can help. He places a hand in Broly's head, looking into his thoughts, trying to see those memories, and he can see that clearly was Goku there, and he notices that other Goku was wearing a time ring and a Patara earring. They already know another Kai is involved, and he used the Dragon Balls after all. He's gonna have to look into this further, but what if that has some relation to Zamasu? I mean, think about it, a Kai using time travel in the Dragon Balls. This is kind of a stretch, but what if that is Zamasu, another version of him, in Goku's body? That's probably the only way he's able to use the time ring and why he looks like that, and why he's working with Zamasu. And when Zamasu was speaking before, Broly recalls that he almost said something but held it back. Maybe it was gonna be about how he got that Goku with him. They still aren't too sure. And Shin could go back in time and try and look at this, but he doesn't want to mess with the time rings anymore. They seem to have already caused more problems. Future Broly apologizes, not knowing what happened. He's still so confused, but they try to catch him up to speed and tell him where he is. And Trunks says if he can't find his way home, Trunks wanted to seek him out anyways. He could stay here on Earth, and Trunks can help him get control of that power. And President Broly jumps in too. If he needs any help, feel free to come back to their timeline. Well, they need the time machine back. It's still stuck in the present. Well, they'll be sure to have Bulma send it back. Shin's honestly not very fond of them doing more timeline stuff, but it's probably necessary. So he'll allow it. Future Broly keeps apologizing and thanks everyone again. And Trunks thanks everyone too. Thankfully, they prevented a lot of destruction here. Trunks left immediately when Broly showed up. There was some destruction, but it wasn't nearly as widespread as it was with Goku Black. This actually worked out way better. The group goes back in time, and they actually figured out what happened with Zamasu. Because this present Zamasu was planning the same thing. He didn't even fight Goku here, but he knows of Goku, and they know he had some plan. Now he's under huge scrutiny, so everyone can make sure that he's not going to act out again or do anything. And they figure out he did plan on possibly stealing Immortal's body. If he did enact this plan, Goasu's going to try to correct him, get him down the right course, give Zamasu another chance. Clearly his fail as a teacher, but at least this way, they figure out what happened in the future. It still boggles everyone's mind, all the timeline nonsense, because it's pretty hard to keep track of, so as long as Trunks is safe, and he found future Broly, that's pretty good at least. Naturally for Broly, the next step is trying to evolve his God form, and he's been thinking. He could try and get that Super Saiyan Blue form that Goku and Vegeta have, but he's not too sure if he's going to be able to do so. His Super Saiyan form is different by default, and he has been thinking about combining Wrathful with it. That might be a little less risky. The concern before was that he wasn't going to be able to control any of his forms, but now he has such an amazing control on his godly powers, his Wrathful form, his full power form, that everything shouldn't be an issue. He should be able to combine something, shouldn't he? And he's been trying to do this. At first he starts with Wrathful, trying to combine that with the powers of a Super Saiyan God. But for some reason this isn't working, and he's not too sure why. It should work, he has full control over it, but the anger of that Wrathful form doesn't seem to mix with the calmness of a Super Saiyan God. Which is weird because he's seen how it works with Super Saiyan. That's a form derived from rage. But this Wrathful form seems to just inherently conflict with this somehow. And it kind of makes sense to him when he considers that this was the root of all of his problems before. That unbridled rage is a great ape that was pent up inside of him. He did have to master that form first before going on to his other ones and trying to master those. So maybe it's something similar here. Maybe he shouldn't focus on that. Maybe he should just go to Super Saiyan. But will that work? If Wrathful doesn't work, is that going to even work for him? And will he even get Super Saiyan Blue? There's only one way to find out. Goku and Vegeta are kind of terrified of the result in case Broly does end up going berserk, but it shouldn't happen here. Beerus says he's calm enough as a god and has control over it, so it shouldn't really happen. And if it does, those two should be more than strong enough. Especially with the new power they've obtained. Since Broly's training with them, they kind of have a different focus on their power. Of course, Goku is still trying to follow Whis' trainings. But they get kind of sidetracked, especially Vegeta. With Broly there, they're kind of focused on raw power. Partially because that's working for Broly, and partially out of necessity just in case they need to stop Broly. Goku doesn't really like this approach, but he decides to go with it anyways just to see where his limits can go. He still does want to work on that thing that Whis is teaching, you know, having his body move automatically. But the training that Vegeta's doing seems promising, and he wants to at least just try that out, considering that shouldn't be too hard. And together, the two of them are actually able to go beyond Super Saiyan Blue, getting an evolved version of it, They thought maybe they could just combine Super Saiyan 2 with Super Saiyan God, but instead they just got this, an evolved Blue. And Goku really likes this. He's tried to use Blue Kaioken more, but this actually seems to work better. Blue Kaioken is strong, but it literally just tears his body apart, especially at such a high level like that. With this actually might be a better approach for him. And who knows what lies ahead next? Well, the Tournament of Power lies ahead, especially after how impressed Zeno was with the Universe 6 tournament, mainly Universe 7. He wants to see them fight again. How about against all the other universes? Make it a survival game. Make it a test for the mortals. That could be perfect. So now they need a group of 10. And forming a team like this shouldn't be too hard. They have a ton of strong people with them after all. Goku, Vegeta, and Broly are the obvious picks, and then they go to Gohan and Piccolo on Earth, with Android 16 also being a favorite given how strong he is and how much he's been upgraded. That's pretty good so far, 6 people. Broly even suggests recruiting Paragus, but he actually declines. Paragus kind of gave up on fighting a long time ago. He has been trying to keep up with his training, but he's at that point now where he's already started rapidly aging, and it is very noticeable. The 3 Saiyans have of course visited Earth from time to time, and they've seen this process happening. It happened so quickly, and Paragus is glad that they do want to recruit him. And just for old time's sake, he tries to show off Super Saiyan, but he can immediately tell he's way weaker than he was in his prime, even with a power like this. He's content as is, and he's glad that he's been chosen regardless, but he passes on the idea. He doesn't want to hold everyone back, especially Broly. And it's kind of a weird thing for him, seeing how much Broly has grown. Paragus has been on Earth for so long now. He's grown past his old spiteful self that he once was before, and while he can't fully atone for the sins of his past, he actually is somewhat of a better father to Broly, and this moment between them is a pretty good showcase of that. Paragus expresses a lot of pride in his son, and not in the sense that he's proud of him as a Saiyan warrior, but he's proud just to have him as a son and seeing how strong he's grown. He trusts that even without him, the team will be fine, especially with Broly on their side. And this makes Broly very confident, and it's a bit sad to see Paragus in this state, especially with how old he is, but it also lets Broly reflect on how far Paragus has come, as a warrior and as a person. The old Paragus wouldn't have turned this down, and he would have tried to fight regardless, knowing that he was probably up against something that he couldn't beat. He probably wouldn't even show that same pride in Broly, or at least he'd show it in a different way, one that just benefits him. Goku picks up on this too, and he's really glad to see it. Tenshinhan, Krillin, and Roshi are also recruited, and as for the 10th member, they're gonna need somebody else. Well, what about Yamcha? I mean, they could recruit him. That could definitely work. And the idea of Frieza never comes up because they knew Frieza was revived, but they never knew how strong he was, and there's no reason to really bring him back. But there is one fighter that is surprisingly suggested by Gohan of all people. Gohan says they're probably not going to like this pick, but he promises them this will work out. He wants them to recruit Cell. He doesn't like Cell, and he doesn't fully trust Cell either. But he does know Cell is a strong warrior, and knowing his nature, this is something he would do. He would team up with them. It is a risk knowing that he could probably get the Super Dragon Balls and make a wish from them, but having someone that strong on their team, it makes their team that much stronger. Vegeta and Broly actually don't really like this idea. But 2 other people surprisingly support Gohan. One is Goku. He thinks this could work, and he probably would have even thought of the same thing. The other person that agrees with him is Piccolo, having actually fought Cell with Gohan. He says if Cell actually is an issue, then they could just beat him. They already did once, they could do it again, especially with all these other people here. They did it with just them on Earth. Actually, it was pretty much Gohan alone. And that reminds the other Saiyans. They never actually got to see Gohan's power in practice. They just saw it through Whis' staff. Here will actually be a good way to showcase it, and Broly's especially interested given his training with Gohan beforehand, and the similarities the two share. Beerus doesn't really like this idea, but he is actually interested to see how strong that Cell guy is. Whis momentarily departs, being able to find Cell, bringing him back to Earth, and Cell's glad to see everyone there, with some of the group pretty unsure about this. And Cell says he would like to join this tournament. It seems like a great test of his power, and it is kind of necessary for his survival after all. But there's one condition. If he joins their team, he wants Broly and Gohan to fight him, each individually. He's been looking to try this for a while, and he's been training on his own ever since he last saw Gohan. And they accept the condition. It doesn't seem too bad, and it's good to know beforehand that they're going to fight him, rather than Cell just ambushing them and trying to kill them, because that doesn't seem like the case here. He actually just wants to fight, just for the fun of it. And now, the actual tournament itself begins. But it seems Universe 7 is a little bit too prepared. Instead of the tournament being a struggle for them, it's actually kind of a competition between Universe 7. Once they realize how far above the other universes they are, they kind of know that they're going to win actually. Which is great, but it's also an issue because Cell, he's there, and if he ends up winning, he gets his Super Dragon Balls. And that would be terrible. The other universes just watch on with disgust and awe. Universe 7 is facing them so effortlessly, and they're making a competition between themselves to see who can eliminate the most people. Which means they basically go full power right from the start. Which is good too because they still want to win anyways. Although it kind of annoys Cell because he wanted to test his power more, but these universes are kind of weak, and everyone else is competing against him. At least he'll get to fight Broly and Gohan later though. Gohan goes into his beast form right away, holding nothing back. Piccolo fights alongside him, going orange, assisting Gohan but letting him eliminate everybody that he tries to eliminate. That gives Gohan more eliminations. Goku and Vegeta do the same thing for Broly. And Broly's fighting in his god form, but at some point, he decides he can't hold back anymore. He needs to prevent Cell from getting the wish. And Cell watches on with glee as Broly powers up. An intense aura radiates around him. It completely shocks the other gods. And even the others on Universe 7 are pretty terrified. The humans especially. They can't even sense that power, but they can just feel the sheer pressure from it. It's insane. Broly's god form is surrounded by an aura that's kind of similar to Super Saiyan Blue, but then it mutates even more. It's greenish. Goku and Vegeta are surprised that he's already showing this form off, but it kind of makes sense, especially with what they're doing. Broly tries his best to hold himself back, but even with that, just him transforming breaks off pretty much half the ring, completely disintegrating it. His hair grows a bit longer, almost looking like his hair in Super Saiyan, but this time it's more of a teal color. A hint of that Wrathful form still in there, even though he couldn't truly harness that form alongside his god form. And another aspect of that begins showing too. He grows a tail. Even though his tail was cut off so long ago, when he transforms into this, it grows back. This form is the culmination of everything that he is, an extremely powerful Saiyan warrior and a godly figure. He doesn't even have a name for this form. This is what I'll call Legendary Super Saiyan God, or Super God Broly. Of course, not actually the Legendary Super Saiyan, but the name is very fitting for the reference. Pretty straightforward, and Broly didn't really want to name it something like Super Saiyan Teal. This is at least a little better. And with this form, he completely overpowers everyone in the ring. Even someone like Jiren, he's not going to stand a chance. And he basically just cleans house, with Universe 7 taking the win. Alright, maybe they didn't really need to Cell on the team, but they were going to encounter him eventually regardless. And now Cell is really interested. Seeing this power, he wants to fight Broly. And Gohan's shocked to hear this. Cell lost against him already with his beast form, and Gohan can immediately tell that Broly in whatever form this is, even with Gohan training too alongside people like Android 16 and Piccolo, he's not nearly on that level. And he's saying this as someone who can't even sense that type of ki. And Cell really thinks he could fight him, and Cell's pretty confident in it. He hasn't shown off his full power yet. He didn't want to use that in the tournament because he didn't really feel like he needed it. But against Broly, he definitely will. But they're going to need a better venue to fight. As for the wish with the Super Dragon Balls, Broly actually ends up getting it because once he powered up, he was able to eliminate so many people so quickly that he just got the MVP. And even though the tournament itself wasn't as interesting for Zeno, seeing Universe 7 again, especially that powerful, that really interested him, and so he's pretty happy. A wish is made to restore all the other universes, and that makes Zeno even happier. Following the tournament, we go back to Beerus' planet. Cell will fight Gohan eventually, but first he's going to test out his power against Broly, especially because Gohan's saying Broly's apparently even stronger than him right now. And Broly honestly can't believe it. Cell is really this obsessed with fighting. And Cell mentions they didn't really seem to be too surprised that he was perfect. Well, they say they already knew that. I mean, look who they're with after all. Whis could show them everything. They saw his fight with Gohan and Piccolo already, so they've known he's perfect, and they knew he'd eventually come back someday anyways. Cell tells Broly, don't hold back here. They should know he could regenerate after all, so don't be afraid about doing any damage to him if he really is that powerful. But Cell is that confident in his power, and he wants to see that super god form again. He wants to see how he matches up to it. Broly then feels a burst of energy around him, or something weird like that. Whis taps him with his staff, and he's surrounded by some weird force field. Whis tells him, this will allow him to breathe in space temporarily. Consider it a gift. It'll allow their battle to be much better. This was at the request of Lord Beerus actually. He wanted them to go all out, not be limited by this planet. And if they did fight on this planet after all, it would make a pretty big mess. He stands next to Beerus, Goku, and Vegeta, with a bubble forming around them as they float up into space, following Broly and Cell as they float up. Cell assumes a fighting stance, and Broly does too, which is weird because he's out in the vacuum of space, and it's going to be kind of weird to fight out here, but he'll get used to it, even though he has no footing to have this stance. He can adapt, like he always does. The two clash. Goku and Vegeta watch with amazement. The energy generated from that clash alone. They haven't even transformed yet. Broly's still in his base. And Cell finds it kind of interesting. He tried to absorb some power from all those other warriors at the Tournament of Power, but he never actually got to do so. And he didn't really feel like it would be too beneficial anyways. He didn't know what their powers were, or how it would affect him. He's just going to use his own power here. Although that does have a downside. He hasn't absorbed anybody's power in a while. He has what he's always had before, and whatever he's trained for. He doesn't actually know how to sense any godly ki here, so he can't really sense Broly's power. But he says he doesn't really need that. And Broly asks if he's really sure. If so, they'll continue this fight. And Cell nods in agreement. Broly powers up, first going into Super Saiyan God. And Cell laughs. This is Super Saiyan God and Broly's other form is called Super God? Shouldn't it be the other way around? And Broly's been embarrassed by this, but he says he wasn't the one who named Super Saiyan God. Don't blame him. Cell chuckles. Very well then. Cell still doesn't transform, fighting Broly with his current power. Cell then vanishes from Broly's sight, and Broly senses someone coming to attack him. He barely dodges it, and it looks like Cell, but it isn't Cell. It's a smaller blue Cell. And then there's another one, and then more. He has no clue what this is. And Cell says this is one of the new things that he thought of, introducing him to those Cell Juniors that he just spawned, with Cell spawning even more. Broly fends off all the Cell Juniors, and despite their size, they're incredibly powerful, and Cell attacks alongside them, of course fighting with perfect harmony. Cell says no matter how strong Broly is, he won't be able to overcome their sheer numbers, unless he fully powers up. Broly warns Cell one last time, but Cell tells him to stop it already. Just show him that power. Cell says if anything, he would think that Broly would want to kill him. He's surprised that he's so hesitant about it. But maybe it's because Broly actually sees the new side of Cell. He's not a good guy by any means, but he's more neutral than he was before, which is interesting. And Broly has seen how people have changed, especially through Goku, and what he's heard about Cell from Gohan. So that's kind of the reason for it. He has no reason to just slaughter Cell right here and now. But Cell says to stop worrying about that. Even if he wanted to, he probably couldn't. Well, he asked for it. Broly powers up once more, going into that same super god form. Little side note, the reason I'm calling it that is just because, it pretty much conveys what it is. Calling it something with full power in it, like super full power Saiyan God, that's kind of a mouthful. And it isn't Super Saiyan Blue, it's something completely different. The name's kind of a reference to that God Broly form, which I actually did include in another video too. You can check that out here. And I wanted to go a different route for this one and not include that exact form. This one is kind of like that, but also kind of different. Just so I could have more fun with the design here. Anyways, with Broly now in this form, he completely overpowers Cell. The battle is so fast that even Goku and Vegeta are having a tough time keeping up. They even transform just to heighten their senses just to see this more. And Cell decides to finally showcase his true power. He actually saw this from Frieza, and he thought, why not try to use this for himself? He already is perfect, but why not make himself stronger than perfect? A brilliant golden light surrounds him, with Cell's power surging as he then goes into his new form, Golden Cell. He said he debated whether or not to actually change himself. As a perfect being, he shouldn't really need to change how he looks. But it does convey his new increase in power, so he thought it's kind of necessary. Frieza did it after all, so he'll do the same thing. It's kind of like their Super Saiyan form in a way. And Broly smiles. This is more like it. The power that Cell was hiding. It truly is pretty amazing. This will make for a very fun battle. The two rush in toward each other, with Cell turning into a golden beam of light and Broly turning into a teal beam of light. Every time they clash, there's an explosive shock. They have to really try hard to control themselves because if they have too much power surging, it could just break everything. But thankfully Cell knows how to control his power, and Broly definitely does too by now. Goku, Vegeta, Beerus, and Whis watch as sparks of light appear out of nowhere. The two Saiyans have completely lost sight of Broly and Cell. They just see the sparks of where they collide, with bursts of energy launching out from those collisions. Cell tells Broly this is why he's wanted to fight him for so long. He has some of Broly's power after all, and he was built just to be the perfect warrior. Against someone as strong as Broly, someone with this power, it's great for both of them. It lets Cell test himself to the fullest extent, and Broly gets to do the same thing. With someone at his strength, he won't be able to fight anyone, but Cell, they could fight together. Imagine that, an eternity of them battling as rivals. They'll endlessly grow stronger, enjoying the thrill of battle like this. And Cell knows that Broly wants to do something like that too. He's a Saiyan after all. He may not have Broly in his DNA, being from the future and all. He only has some knowledge of Broly's power from that encounter that they had in the Cell Saga. But he knows how Broly is. He knows how Saiyans are. He's part Saiyan. And briefly, Broly considers the idea, and he tells Cell, it does sound intriguing, but Cell's gonna have to be stronger than this. Cell looks shocked at first, but then smiles. Then so be it. Let's finish this battle. Broly's aura flares up once more, with the power of that alone knocking Cell back. He connects a single punch, and that completely knocks Cell unconscious. Even Beerus is surprised. Broly had that kind of power in reserve? He wasn't already fighting at his full strength? Is that really his competition now? Can he even compete with that? Broly floats back to the rest of them, carrying Cell over his shoulder. And Vegeta's actually kind of surprised that Broly doesn't even try to kill him. Broly could tell that he's different than before, and he does want to fight him again. They all land back on Beerus' planet, and Goku turns to Broly. He's actually not too surprised to see this. If Broly did just want to destroy Cell right now, he'd have every right to do so. But Goku can kind of see his influence rubbing off on Broly. Not just the fact that Broly wants to fight him again, that's just inherent to his Saiyan nature, but also him seeing the potential changes that people could have. Now, Goku doesn't ever expect Cell to turn good or anything, but it does remind him of when he encountered Broly before. Broly was a brutish monster with amazing strength. It seemed completely uncontrollable. But Goku became rivals with him, became friends with him. He became Broly's teacher. And in a way, maybe Broly has the same thing in mind with Cell. And Broly's kinda happy to think about it like this. Even better, Cell's not the only one that he could face. He has so many great rivals around him. Goku, his first rival and his first teacher, and one of his first friends. And as an extension of that, there's Piccolo, who he grew close with during his journey. And then Gohan too, someone who's similar to that. Especially after seeing their brief performance in the tournament Power, and how they performed against Cell, they still are his rivals. They're still incredibly powerful. And he obviously still has that same close bond with them that he always has had. And even Vegeta, the person that Paragus actually trained him to kill, the person that he almost did kill, the person that revolted against him so much. Even they're allies now. Broly's life has changed so drastically. And yeah, he lost a bunch of years on Vampa, but it doesn't really matter. The experiences he's had on Earth, the bonds he's made with his friends there, they've more than made up for it. No matter how much time he lost by being trapped on Vampa, his history on Earth is worth lifetimes. And even when he grows old, he thinks of Paragus, how he's been changed by Earth, and how he could still even have a good life ahead of him. He looks down at the unconscious Cell. Even though Cell is kinda still rotten, he's not the same self that he was before. And for all Broly knows, this could be his next rival, his next friend. a new person to share these amazing experiences with, especially the thrill of fight. And with that, we end here. What did you guys think about this part in the series as a whole? Originally I had it written out that I was going to include the Moro and Granola arcs, but they were too short to actually include. As a brief synopsis, I had Piccolo fight Moro, sealing him because it was so effective against Zamasu, and Android 16 helped him because his energy couldn't be stolen. And as for Granola, he wouldn't really be involved because the Frieza Force is already gone. I didn't have too much time to include in this part, and I didn't really want to extend it to another one, but there's that. And with that brief aside, let me know your thoughts below. I'd love to see what you guys think about this series. As usual, if you like the video and you want to help out the channel, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Anyways, thank you all for watching, thanks for supporting the scenario all the way through, and I'll see you all in my next video.